Unscripted versus scripted RP. This has caused some waves. It's causing waves in some of the other servers too, besides just NoPixel. What does it mean for roleplay to be scripted versus unscripted? Give me your hot take. Go. Bam.
Like I said, yeah, it all depends who you ask. But I mean, for me, like, to me, scripted RP is like you're planning out the beginning, middle, and end because there's a certain way you want to go. Unscripted, I mean, kind of like, I don't know. There could be an argument for like kind of what we did, right? A lot of people can speculate that that's scripted RP. My opinion, it's not because we're not. You can choose your environment, right? But what's being said is not. It's all improvised, right? Like you're going into things not knowing what people are going to say and do, and you have to roll with that. For an example, the reason why the Purgatory thing was not scripted, even though we all planned to get on there and do that, right? That part was set, right? Those conversations were not talked about. For example, Giblets, that lore thing he gave about Chatterbox not wanting to be a clown, I had no idea he was going to drop that. He basically just altered lore, and I'm rolling with it. Like, I was actually shocked he said that. I'm like, oh, fuck. Now I got to roll with that. So, I mean, scripted to me is like a full-blown, like you're planning everything out, and it's going to go a certain way. You're setting yourself up for, like, you know what's going to happen, right? Unscripted, you don't know, right? But there's always room to play with, like, your environment and kind of what's going to happen and what the basic idea is. So, for example, Purgatory Arc. It was just Chatterbox's head, right? So that was technically scripted in the sense of we all understood that we're going to get in and role play out something in Chatterbox's head, but we're not telling each other what we're going to say. We're just going to say it. And that was it. So that's my take on it.
W take. I mean, I don't really know. I don't really know how. I think what's crazy about this is when I've seen like commentary around this, whether it be on YouTube or Twitter or Reddit or wherever else, where people talk about scripted versus I still have not seen a fully. I don't know if I can think of a fully scripted roleplay moment or like fully scripted like roleplay that occurred. I actually don't. I don't know of any. I feel like a lot of it's just.
Neither do I.
I feel like what a lot of people think is scripted is what you described, where it's like, no, we just teed something up. Like, you don't know where the ball is going to go. We just fucking put the tee in the ground, right? Like, and
yeah,
went from there.
Well, like, it's hard to make big cinematic moments sometimes if you don't kind of get your heads together on one thing, because it just doesn't work out that way, right? If you want to make something like super cinematic, there needs to be a little bit of like, yo, I'm just going to kind of do something like this, like give the basic idea, right? But you shouldn't ever like give like, say this, I'll say this. Like that's where it becomes unimmersive and reactions don't hit the same and stuff like that. I hate that stuff, right? But I think it's okay to like kind of just say, yo, this is kind of like this is kind of like an environment we want to do this, or this is kind of the goal, right? And just wing it.
Right. And I feel like oftentimes I hear this is where my crazy hot take that comes in. I think a lot of people who lament what they think is scripted RP, what they want, or like what people think is pure unscripted RP. My hot take is I think it leads eventually to some of the worst role play. Or not even worse role play, just some of the most like it literally leads to, hey, let's wake up. Yo, what'd you order from Uber? Let's drive around in a car and be in a Discord call for like 3 hours. All right, my role play time's done. Let me clock off. Right? And it's like that. I think that ends up being literally when people, what's funny, unscripted RP, this debate of unscripted versus scripted, I think sometimes it comes down to lazy versus intentional is another way that you could frame it, right? Intentional RP is just like, it's like going to an improv class and actually having a prompt or actually having
Right.
props or guidance for where you go with it. And sure, you can do some stuff that is completely unscripted, but like I think even some of the funniest like unscripted role players still come in there with a premise or a prompt. Like I'm pretty sure like Burn one day role played entirely as like Paul Atreides from fucking Dune. And it's like he still set up like fucking I don't know, music from Dune. He set up a bunch of voice lines from shit. You know what I mean? Like it was still guided, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know. Dibbo, what are your thoughts on this as a shitty role player yourself?
Wow. Okay. I see how it is. I mean, obviously, I think I agree with you guys on the big points here. I think scripted RP, I think it's a term that's kind of like a blanket term that people like to throw around a lot. And I think it's kind of lost its meaning on like what's actually scripted. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like for the most part, a lot of what people say is scripted RP, it's just people setting up an RP scenario like you guys talked about. And I think that's really good, especially for bigger arcs, because it's impossible to get everyone's head together without setting something up in advance. You know what I mean? Like, especially if you're trying to do something big, like heist stuff a little bit. Like, right, like some of the stuff that me and you have done, Blau. We need a little setup there because otherwise it's going to be like if everyone's going in blind to that kind of stuff, sometimes it's like, well, we don't know its intentions. Like, we want everyone to get what they want out of their RP scenario. We want people to feel like they're going into something and it's cool and impactful for them. So I think it's just a way that like we communicate with each other basically, and
Yeah.
talk about like how can we make this RP good for everybody, basically.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
like,
W take.
yeah, W. Well, I mean, and like for instance, I think if the heist had if the heist arc we did, or like if some of the stuff that like Capt does for his missions, if they could only be successful, then they would be like, then they're more like I feel like my heist could be more scripted if it was like, oh, like, but and then it's like, oh, the cops will back off here, the cops let them get into but no, it's usually like, here's a fucking heist, here's the plan, here's what you guys got to rob. And like I think there's like, for instance, like the guards on the boat, when you guys did the heist trying to steal the helicopter, right? The guards on the boat, obviously they weren't gonna fucking sit up in their chair, fucking, snort a line of G Fuel, snort a line of Adderall, and like lock in, like trying to like fucking hit headshots on you guys, right? Like they're not gonna do that. Like that part is like they're kind of supposed to lose, and so that part is scripted. But the cops showing up, how you guys try to get away from there, how like all that's all the unscripted part, right? Like I think it's okay to have some parts that like are just there for cinematics, and then let the unscripted stuff flow.
Right, exactly. Sam had a good thing to throw on the table here, the mime arc, because that's actually a good thing for this conversation, because there could be a lot of debate. Is that scripted, right? Because you're building. How many mimes role play in the city of NoPixel? 2, like David. You have David Wonders, like the mime, right? And then there's no real other mimes going around from there. There's a few, right?
Right.
But there's no like, the clowns had their backstory, so you need to bring people in to build that. So what happened was the idea came from like, I was just like, we need something. So I had this whole mime idea. So I went to Bozo, who was not role playing as Bozo at the time. He wasn't really role playing, right? I'm like, yo, I got an idea. If you want to like, kind of get back into the server a little bit, get in your groove. And I kind of pitched him an idea of just like the mimes coming back and creating like some like big thing, right? And he was like, actually, that sounds like fun. So then he got into contact with Afro, which then got in contact with Wepo. And then those 3 were like, let's cook an idea. And they just went with it. So one little idea started, they communicated with each other and built this whole arc, which lasted, 4, almost 5 months? It was insane. They got Burn involved and stuff like that. So they were doing all this planning and stuff like that and building, right, amongst each other to give us like some crazy story.
Yeah.
And ain't none of us knew what the hell was gonna happen. And shit was like changing, and there was like so many like twists in the story and stuff like that. It was actually so much fun. But they had to plan that stuff, right? They had to bring people in. They had to like, so amongst them, they had ideas. They had to talk what they were gonna do out, because they don't necessarily role play as mimes every day,
Right.
Because it's impossible. It's too, like, how you gonna
You
how you
can't
gonna
talk.
create this
Yeah.
big thing? Like, yeah, it just against, so like for us, it was just like them giving stuff to us, and we were like, holy shit, right? That stuff, in my opinion, was great, because at the end of the day, there was no gain in that entire arc other than story. You're not gaining anything other than story. Who won, who lost, what happens during it. You're not making your group rich. It's nothing like that, right? So there is a lot of room to play with that. And I always think that stuff like that, like with what Bozo and Burn and Afro did and Wetbo, them creating that and communicating with each other to build that should always be like a positive thing, especially if it's just for flat out story purposes, just to bring RP to the server, because that was like 5 months of awesome RP, like awesome RP.
Yeah, it was one of the better story arcs going on in the server. I mean, I don't even know I don't even know the full extent of what Buddha's story is right now. All I know is I know like the character Lang Buddha was almost killed or something, went into exile, and all I know is I saw a clip of him with some new clothing, scripted, right? He did a cold open with new clothing that scripted, literally, in the sense that it was probably scripted as in like he had to have the clothing built, and he's playing the Dune music, walking through the fucking sands, and then a panther goes and attacks him. And I'm like, and that part was unscripted. That was funny as fuck. But I'm like, even that is like, Buddha's setting stuff up, and Buddha's, I actually think, I don't know how much inspiration you have for Buddha, but Buddha's been one of the people who has inspired me a lot on that like mix of unscripted stuff, but then also doing intentional plans for arcs. And I think some of Buddha's best content has been from that, where he's planned out, stuff that they've built. And then sometimes it relies even on like out of game, dev building, right? Just like you had like out of game lore building with the Purgatory arc.
Yeah.
I think the only I think a legitimate criticism to what we might be calling this like scripted or more intentional stuff is if that's like, if people became reliant on it and if it became like the only thing going on in the server. But I just don't see that. It hasn't happened. I don't see it happening. Like if there were like crazy fucking events going every single day, then it would be a problem. But that's just not the case. If anything, there's not enough of it.
Yeah. A big thing too is like having what we had the last several months, all this help was awesome, but it's not something anybody should ever get used to, because it can make you lazy, because then you're just kind of like, you feel lost without all that support. Like you always should be able to like do big things without stuff like that, right? But having dev backing really makes a hell of a difference. Oh my god, because that whole thing was cinema.
Well, I mean, it's also just like one of those things where it's like, I think there is purpose to the economy, and like you and I might actually disagree on this point. I still think there is value and purpose to grinding a little bit, even though I never do it.
With certain things, I would agree.
And for certain kinds of role playing, for certain groups, sure. But I'm like, dude, I'm trying to imagine a world what am I supposed to do? Like ask like all of the mime role players, like, hey guys, before this event, you guys need to all wake up a week early, grind sanitation, grind jobs, get a bunch of money so that you can buy the weapons that you're going to use in this one-off war on characters that you're going to use for one day. Like, that's so weird. Like that.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
No one would have showed up.
Yeah, no one would have showed up.
No one would have showed up.
Yeah.
Ain't no one can do that. Like, it's too much.
God, I felt so bad.
I wouldn't.
I felt. Was it Twinkles? I forgot. There was someone from your. I felt so bad who like went and was like grinding for shit.
Bro, dude, a lot of them were doing it, and I'm just like, guys, we're good, and they're like, oh, we gotta make sure. Like, I'm like, can't. How am I gonna explain this to you guys in character that we're okay? Like, fuck.
Well, and again, by the way, I want to be clear. I have never once even gotten the slightest. It's not that I've never gotten a red light. I've never even gotten like a yellow light to slow down from Buddha or Coil on any of this stuff, because I'm pretty sure they're like, oh, like Blau's spawning in a bunch of supplies and weapons for the clowns and the mimes for this like continued roleplay. It's not like all of a sudden, like, I don't know, the clowns have taken over the server and they're the number one gang, always sniping cargo ship, always riding 6 deep in the streets, full war convoy. Like, it's like, that's just not going to happen. Right. So I think, for certain groups, it's a lot easier for me to like bring in stuff knowing that stuff is probably inevitably going to go to the PD. In fact, probably monetarily, considering all the stuff you guys have lost and the sniper rifle fight. As we talked about even on the last podcast, of stuff that I've spawned in, I've actually lost criminals more money because of the fines they've incurred. Getting caught with sniper rifles. But yeah, I think that's where people have always gotten hesitant on this. And here's my other take. And I want to know Dimok's thoughts on it. I think sometimes people treat it like, say, whether it's me or Capped spawning stuff in, it almost feels like we're cheating in a MMO, as opposed to, I am giving you a prop for this improv scene. Because that's the way I look at it, is the latter, not the former. I don't think of this as some fucking MMO I'm trying to like hit world first on.
Yeah, you got to be very selective too, I guess, like with like different groups, like of what you can give, and you just gotta make sure something doesn't get into the wrong hands, right? Because everybody takes their approach on the server very differently, right? Some people are just for like story, some people are like for SBS story, whatever, goofing around. Others are like serious about like getting their group to like being a powerhouse. So everybody has like a different vibe that you kind of have to like, how can we play with this? What can we spawn, and how much can we give, right? Because then it could turn into it could turn bad, right? I was always very worried about those snipers. I'm like, fuck, gotta make sure this doesn't get into the wrong hands, because some people are gonna be shooting cops with these things. And
you could do some crazy shit with those too.
Those sniper rifles are, those are not good to have around. No.
Dimok, what are your thoughts on that?
They're $1 million fines. What's that?
Oh,
yeah, they're big fines.
Yeah, Dimok, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's like also like a common sense thing, right? I don't know. To me, it feels like, obviously you are somebody that at least the staff team trusts, right? That's why they're giving you these roles and these responsibilities, because you know who you can give what, and kind of what that will lead to, right? And also they're trusting you to understand these situations and be like, okay, this could use a little extra help. Let me give them a prop to help move this RP along, right? It's kind of like an inherent trust there that goes along with it. I feel like people that get upset with it don't understand the intention, and probably don't understand what the server is to some extent. Because I feel like some people do kind of see it as this video game, or it's kind of like an MMO now. But at the end of the day, it's still just a role play server, right? So I feel like if you get in that MMO, mindset, you're like, oh, nobody should get anything spawned because it goes against the rules of the game. But like, if you take a step back and like, no, this is a role play server, it's like, of course you want to spawn things in. That's some of the best role play. That's how you get it, because some of these things are unobtainable. Some of these things are just convenient and necessary to make a scene move along. And I would guarantee that almost everybody's favorite arc in role play, like whatever favorite arc you think of, has not only had some level of scripted role play in it, but has probably also had some level of dev input in it too, or admin input. I guarantee that that's true for everybody's favorite arc of role play, no matter what it is. So,
damn.
Thoughts?
Wow, yeah, we'll see chat's reaction to that. While chat thinks that, what would be interesting that we should get on, because it is a different style of role play than I think what you and I are used to. We should, and it is a valid. I think it is a valid form of role play. It's just different. It's kind of it's almost like a different form of almost gameplay. Is this like I role play to create a strong gang and strong group, and like a lot of my identity for my role play is based off of like essentially like gang progression. I think it'd be fun. We should get like gang leaders on for a chat to like talk to them about like what.
Yeah.
And to be fair, it's not like they only do that role play. I think oftentimes that is the role play they push more at the start of a server. And then later on they'll open up to other forums. But
I'd like to hear like more of like their side of things too, and like how things are for them, because like I'm very like I'm on the outside looking in too, right? And it'd be nice to hear input from like multiple different gang leaders. Like Hydra's changed a lot, right? Like besties seem like they're very like strong and shit like that. Hydra seems like they took a big turn, and they're like less serious now, and it's really nice. I fuck with Hydra a lot. They're really fun. But
I don't fuck with Hydra.
dude, like, you know, it's hard to fuck
sorry.
with people when you're never around, right?
Yeah, true. Okay. Jesus. Well, no, I just don't like. I don't like Silent. I think.
Bro, me neither.
I think he's a terrible person.
I'm just joking. Johnny's joking.
No, no, they're great. No, I actually recently just did like a funny, fun as fuck little arc with Hydra, and they were great. All gang. So someone in chat said all gangs should chill and learn to take more L's. Honestly, I think a cool thing would be gangs taking an L, not even in a scripted way, but like more on purpose, or being more kind of like cinematic with the way they like lose something, and being like okay with like losing a scenario. I think that's the thing, is that like a lot of, again, for like role play is give and take. I feel like when you emphasize that like I want to be the strongest gang, Hydra on top, besties on top, whatever, clowns on top, right? I think you get a little too focused on not just creating good scenes, as opposed.
I think what makes it hard for them though, like I said, this is just the outside looking in. When you lose a gang war, correct me if I'm wrong, everyone, but when you lose, you have to pay the other gang millions of dollars and, you know, stuff like that. I think that makes people like be like, what the fuck? Because it's hard to make money sometimes. And it's just like, fuck. I wish I don't know what gang wars typically are about these days, but people should go to war for like stuff that's like big. Like war should mean something big, right? Which would make it more like what you're saying, right? Instead of like, this motherfucker disrespected me on my block or something like that, right? Like, it should be like about turf and about you know, just bigger things.
Well,
and I think that would make it a lot better for like, it would be a lot less toxic, I think, even for the viewers, right? Because I know a lot of viewers get pretty wrapped up in some shit. But
so to play devil's advocate, I actually like when gang wars start over petty shit, because I like when there's an escalation, when there's a clear escalation.
What kind of petty stuff though?
Oh, dude, no, I actually, this is my, I love when gang war, like as an observer, as a viewer of this, I love when you can like trace them back to like, you know, the like, oh, this was the spark that started it all. Like, I don't know, wasn't there like crazy Rust? There was like some crazy thing between like Rust and Gulag Gang that all started because people were panning in the waters for poop, or they're panning. Okay. So okay. This I'm gonna go through the story, the lore of this. So it's basically this: the mechanic in the game was you could go gold panning anywhere, like as long as there was water. Okay. I was mayor. Mickey was mayor at the time, and I saw this, and I was like, okay, I think the devs want you to go to water sources and rivers to do this. You shouldn't be panning in the canals. That's kind of lazy RP. was basically my thought. And now that's kind of fucked up because I basically took my OOC interpretation of it to enforce it in roleplay. I was like, okay, I'm going to enforce it in roleplay. So I made Mickey basically be like, this is a public health crisis. There's poop in those canal waters. You're going to get sick. And so then I organized, I think it was literally called Shit Team 6, and it was Gulag Gang hired like as basically, I don't know, as mercenaries to go, and they would basically rob and kill anyone who was panning for gold in the canals. And that somehow started a war with Rust and then eventually it escalated into some crazy war with Rust and like some wild, but like all of this happened because I just declared that the canals were a public safety crisis. And it just kept escalating. Now, the reason why I think it was cool is because it was like a whole like back and forth thing. I think so my counterpoint is I actually like when wars escalate over and over from something really small and then you can kind of trace it back. What I wish is that wars ended in a way that wasn't just, hey, you guys have to pay $5 million. I wish wars had had better endings, and that the side that wins basically just gives an easy out to the side that loses without making them pay or stuff like that.
I think 3.0, it was CG. They had a big war with BBMC, and at the end they made them do like a car wash or some shit. BBMC had to do a big car wash for him. It was like really, really funny. It was like that stuff I thought was really, really cool, right? Like, because it just ends lighthearted, right? It's just like, yeah, we RP'd, we did our war, do this shit. You know, you have to like embarrass your gang by doing something for our gang in front of everybody, right? Just like not have to give us tons of money and, you know, keeps things lighthearted, right? And fun for them. And it seemed like they all were like enjoying themselves. And I think to me, that's like the biggest plus of all of it, right? Because if you're mad or you lose and you're like, fuck, then people get toxic and shit, right?
But I think of the like, yeah, I think Chain Gang is an interesting example of a group that I think sometimes does push. I'll just straight like Chain Gang pushes the W mentality too much. I think for them, a lot of their pressure comes from their viewers actually, which is like I for Chain Gang, I don't even fault the role players as much as I actually literally just fault the viewers that they push for a W mentality. However, I do think they are one of the best groups that when giving groups like an out in conflict, they do a really good job of just that, of making it about creating a role play scenario as opposed to here's a giant cost you have to pay. I love that. I remember the BBMC car wash, it was funny as fuck, right? Like I love when people, in giving someone an L, the L is actually, it's like an L in character, but a W in content, basically.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with that. I always was curious to know, like, hear people's like gang members' takes, like on like the whole 3.0 spray system, which I actually really liked. There was things obviously that weren't great about it, but claiming turf with sprays, I thought was a really, really cool, really cool concept, right? Like it was like you have to fight for your turf, and that was like a big thing that happened. And it created wars that were meant something because people were just fighting for turf. Gangs always do that, right? They fight for turf and stuff like that. I thought it was really cool, right? Could have used some work, obviously, but I mean, I hope at some point they bring something like that back, because that did seem like fun, like just fighting over turf and shit like that, and like you'd have sprays, you know, when you're walking down an alley and stuff like that. You just know what block you're on and shit. That stuff was awesome.
Yeah,
but
I was gonna say, I think what this boils down to is just like, I think it's just a general consensus between all of us that like we would rather consequences to be RP versus grind. You know what I mean? Because it feels like the money and stuff is just like we want to take away like, you know, the hours you put in for this millions of dollars. Like that always is gonna feel bad, right? Versus getting like an RP kind of ending to a war or something. Like turf, for example, is more RP than it is grind, right? Because it's like, okay, we lost some turf, but we could get that back. Like it's not that hard to get it back, right? We just got to find the RP to do it. But like you lose $10 million, it's like that's a month's worth of work now, guys. We're gonna have to get a month's work back in to get that 10 mil back, you know. So it's like RP consequences kind of versus like mechanic consequences almost. We would rather it be RP.
Yeah.
Oh, on this topic, here's and this might just be that we need to get more gang leaders in here. Okay, this is crazy. Gangs should be okay losing wars or taking massive L's that aren't just against the PD. Like someone in chat said that like, oh, a reputation hit is bigger than like a financial hit or like resource hit. But I'm like, I think a lot of gangs don't want that reputation hit. It's actually one of the funniest things that I've noticed is I'm not trying to like call out like the viewers or the communities of various gangs, whether it be in NoPixel or other servers, but I swear it's like I'm reading real world like political propaganda about who won or lost a war. Like, you know what I mean? Like, depending on who you ask, like, no, we clapped them. Like, yeah, sure, we went down, but it was a 3v6. Or it's like, no, yeah, like, but we won them and we beat them in this straight up. It's like, it's literally like this like esports counting and like keeping track of like who clapped who and like stuff like verse. Now, as a counterpoint, when we did the clowns versus mime war, no one. I'm literally, bro. I'm peepo type on an admin like console, just pulling mimes back to me and respawning them because I don't give a fuck. We're creating a cool looking thing to basically see, hey, can they eventually push in and blow up the funhouse? It's like, oh, the mimes did get all killed, but they actually did succeed in blowing up the funhouse.
Yep.
That's like an actual consequence that occurred. And I think that's way cooler, than being or the scene where you fucking sniped the mime emperor. That whole like,
bro, I thought he shot me at the same time, but it was a different mime that shot me from the side. I was like, oh my god, we clicked at the exact same time.
So
that was awesome.
So I think like, yeah. So as a genuine question to any, even to chatters, and then I'm curious. I mean, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this Chatterbox. I would ask production. I would ask Dimok, except I don't think he has any concept of gang warfare.
Okay. All right. Okay.
But no, like, I mean, like, my question is basically this. Do you think gangs are okay losing their reputation? And maybe a counterpoint to that is like, well, why would they be? They're a gang. They want to always keep a good reputation and be the strongest, most powerful. But then at that point, I'm like, I feel like we're now moving into like esports territory and less into narrative and story territory.
Yeah, I don't know. It just kind of depends, right? Every gang is different. They have a different vibe and approach, right? I don't really know. Like I think I don't really know. Like, it's hard, like, because I don't really like role play around that too much. Because I'm not a huge fan of it. But they should be okay with losing rep, because I think that's like the whole point of role play is their reputation of your group, right? And I think that if you take an L and it hurts your reputation, that's a good thing, because that's how you build your group up, right? By the people that's in it, that create things to give your group a better rep, right? I think the worst rep to ever have, this is obviously just my opinion, is just to be a gang that has shooters, right? That's just a fucking gang that has shooters to me. It's just, all right, you're L gang to me, you know what I mean? The good gangs to me are the ones that like have like people that when you fight them, or if there's any conflict whatsoever, that when there is interaction, and it's something different every time, and not just straight out gunfire, where there can be that there could be the in between, right? The arguing, just even phone calls back and forth, right? Like, there needs to be a lot more conversations. This is role play after all, right? Like you said, it shouldn't be esports, right? It should be role play. There's a lot more to it in gang wars than just shooting. There's a lot more to that.
Dude, fucking phenomenal take. And actually, one of your chatters had such a good point. This is from chat. Victoria Sterling said, it also depends what damaged reputation means. Is the city mocking them, or are they OOC not fun to roleplay with? Oh, shit. Victoria Sterling kind of cooked with that, because I think, listen, I think that's like a good point of this is and I've roleplayed with Buddha a lot, where like Buddha in character will talk about how he doesn't fucking care and he'll even say it OZ to his chat. He doesn't care if he's viewed as a bum or a fucking loser. He'll purposefully like sabotage his own groups, like, like constantly, and like create downfalls for it, whether it was for Cerberus, whether it was for Cyprus. He'll literally create downfalls for them. And they end up getting shit reputation, right? It's like, yeah, Cerberus fucking tanked the economy, shit reputation. But it's like, the OOC reputation is that it's good role play. You should go and role play with these people.
Yeah, they're doing stuff. Like that's exactly how the clowns are right now, right? We had a big arc, now another one started. And what is it? Everybody came together. We actually had a lot. Now everything's coming apart again. It's falling apart again.
I think the clowns are a example of a group that like literally goes through calamity, gets fucking destroyed by the PD, like got destroyed in the mime. Like you've got kind of clapped in the mime war, but also clapped the mimes. Like literally goes through these destructive arcs. But you can see it now. And like genuinely, like you have to be proud looking back over the last few months of just the amount of people that then clearly want to role play and be a part of that story, because it's a good story. It's a good give and take.
Yeah, it's fun, and it gives an opportunity for everybody to kind of like get their hands in and change the pace, or like, change the tone. Like everybody's actions affects what's happening every day, and it's really nice because a lot of people step up and do things, and it's like they get their lore out, they can tell their story at the same time in one huge situation. It's really nice. But people shot in gang wars should suffer 2 to 3 days in ICU, so war matters. We need to talk about this take. I've always think that if you get hurt in a serious role play, like not down in the hospital because someone accidentally hit you, but if you get down in a serious situation, you should like ICU that character for the day. That's one of my hot takes. For the day, I can get behind, but for 2 to 3 days, it's kind of like, I wouldn't do that.
I think for the day is fine. I think for 2 to 3 days, it's like that's the discretion of the role player and the streamer. Maybe they have other characters. Maybe they have other stuff going on. Like, hey, if that's a good time for you to go out and touch. Listen, hear me out. Instead of giving people bans, I think when your character got down in a serious situation, if there was a forced rule that you had to go out and touch grass as a result of that, I think there would be no more like OOC, like salty gang wars. Actually, maybe it'd make it worse. Fuck it. I take that back.
It probably would make it worse. This motherfucker shot me. That was scuff, and I can't play my character for the rest of the day.
Bro, literally ruining my career, man. Like, what the fuck? I killed. Also, there was a chatter whose comment got deleted, and since I just need to. Hold on. They wrote, "Go back to your extortionist cyber stalking RP server. Y'all are breaking federal law, Twitch terms of service, and FTC violations, including COPPA."
What?
Is it? Oh my God. Was that a setup for, and I think I was supposed to read that and be like, I think I was supposed to read their comment. I'm hoping it was this. And then I'm supposed to go, wait, what's COPPA? And then they hit me with a Copperfield as dick, and I get D's nutted off of it. And then I think that's what it was. Otherwise, I don't know what the fuck I just read.
Was that put in chat?
Yeah, it got deleted, but I saw it got deleted. I was like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck? Holy shit. Anyways, sorry.
Touch grass.
Yeah, touch grass. Thank you so much. But yeah, so I think, dude, I do love when characters get downed and injured if people actually make a more like serious arc about that.
I do that right now with when I do like Chatterbox and I do the Jagger split. So if I go to Jagger, like right now, if somebody shoots that character and he goes down, that's it for the day. I have to log off. Because people like, I'm doing bad things to people, right? But if somebody gets me and shoots me and then wants to have a conversation, I can't.
Yo, Dimmock,
He's
we
out.
have we have
He's
the
shot.
Dimmock, we have the chance to do the funniest shit on some alt characters that I spawn in guns for.
Yeah, yeah. We just
Okay.
wake up every day. Actually, you know what we should do? We should just sit there. We can stream snipe Chatterbox. The second he gets in server, we're locked and loaded with snipers, okay? Shoot him, has to go to bed instantly.
And then we can test his result. Let's see if we can break him and cause him
Yeah,
to go
see if we
OOC.
can break him. Yeah.
This
How
would be
long it'll take.
This would be a
You
good
won't. I'll
experience.
just switch to Dumbles and go look for those characters.
Oh shit.
I'll get my get back.
I want to ask you, what is I feel like other servers, not to, we listen, I know it's Roleplay Podcast. I know we both mostly roleplay on NoPixel, but I like to talk about other servers as well. I barely have time to roleplay on NoPixel, but you actually have time. You've roleplay on some other servers. How have you seen other servers handling this, what we would call maybe scripted or unscripted, or as we said, maybe more intentional roleplay? What have you experienced on other servers?
I haven't experienced anything like that on any other server. I'm going to be completely honest. I haven't experienced. Every time I go on another server, we're just locked in, goofing around, doing our thing, but I haven't seen any, I haven't seen any story arcs or anything going on, right? Because I don't pay as much attention. And I'm not there long enough. I don't spend enough time there to know. Like, I have no idea. I couldn't give you a take on it. I have no idea. Every time I go into the server, it's just to meet new people and roleplay and just do Chatterbox shit, right? Just to have fun.
Dude, you know, one of the, I think, underrated things about going into new servers is just different interactions. Like,
dude, like on Prodigy, there's a guy called Yes Man, and he's so funny, man. Like he'll if you have to ask him a certain way, he'll do anything you tell him to, anything. But you have to ask him a certain way. So you'd be like, hey, do you want to stay here by yourself? He'd be like, yeah, I do. And he'll just stay wherever you leave him, right? It's like, do you want to shoot Mr. K with this gun? Yeah, I do. And he'll take the gun and he'll go shoot Mr. K. But if he's going to shoot Mr. K will be like, whoa. Do you want to backstab Chatterbox? Yeah, I do.
oh,
And then he'll go and do that. Dude, another character that I'm like, fuck, I wish this guy was NoPixel, man. Like, really funny. There's a lot of people like that in other places that, you don't get to experience that. So when you go around, there's other people doing different things out there that you're like, fuck, I fuck with this guy, you know?
yeah, and
That's what I noticed. That's all the stuff that I see when I jump around.
yeah, I think it's like the thing. There's just really good role players on all of these servers. I think something in this multi-server kind of ecosystem that's been more prominent recently. I think something that I don't like is people being like, "Wow, this is the best server," or "This server clears this." I'm like, no, I think they're all different, and there's great role players on all of them.
Yeah. The only thing is like everybody makes that argument. Oh, NoPixel's dead. It's not dead. It's not. Okay. It's just different. Okay. It's good for story RP, which we've been doing, and it's been really, really fun, right? But I ain't not afraid to say that there is a lot of room for that. That server needs to be improved to accommodate to the storytelling, which we're doing, and everything else, right? Because that's why all these really cool characters and fun characters are playing elsewhere. They do want to play on NoPixel, but it's not built for that at all. Like, at all. It's too serious. It's way too serious. And it's way too grindy. So
yeah,
that's why these characters are elsewhere right now.
Okay.
Change my mind. Change my mind. I dare you.
Oh,
He's put up his table.
well, I'll have you know that as someone with a dev panel on NoPixel, and because Nikita, a NoPixel admin, is in chat, I will tell you that NoPixel is the premier roleplay experience and is actually better than every other server.
Some ways more than others.
Nah, that's all I had to say. I don't have a reason. I just want,
You
no,
don't got a
don't pay me to say that. No, I'm just, no, I think they're all like, listen, they're all different. I will say I miss the days. I've said this before. I miss the days when it was kind of everyone on one server, and I get it. That's like, I feel like everyone's been scattered to the winds, and you have like just incredible role play moments going on unscripted. I've heard there's some really good stuff going on Onyx as well. You got Prodigy, you got NoPixel. It's like, I feel like it's like all of them. I feel like right now, every server is a good roleplay server. None of them are that like magical roleplay server though. There's no single magical roleplay server right now.
Everybody's very spread out in a server that has a different vibe, right? Because they all do, right? Every time I jump around, you could tell what's different, right? And people lean in, like choose their server based on what's different, right? There are reasons I'm not playing on unscripted. Good reasons, because they made some questionable decisions. But
like T.
Prodigy's
Wait,
been really
pause.
fun.
What happened?
They did.
I'm with Chatterbox here.
They did a few events that were just unacceptable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah,
really?
I don't know if I really should. Yeah, I don't really know if I should.
I don't know if we want to get into that.
Yeah,
I want to wait. What the? I want to get it. This is the problem. See, this is my biggest issue. I am a tea sipper. I just don't follow the tea, so I just don't know
It's they put it this way. I'll give you TLDR. There was an event that people had to bounty hunt specific people.
Okay.
Based on the way they looked.
Yeah, that's fine. We hunted mimes on NoPixel, and the mimes hunted clowns. That's fine.
Not quite like that.
What? No, guys, I don't see what the issue is.
Or sounded, I guess. Yeah, I mean.
Or sounded.
Put it this way, it was bad. It was just bad. You could Google it. I don't really want to talk about it too much because it's like one of those things. Oh
my God! Wait, what? Okay, I actually think I did. I think I saw one clip related to this. That's fine.
Yeah.
It was it actually like ethnically related, and it was like, yeah, that's just fucking dumb. Like that's like, why would you do that?
Yeah, and it was just, I don't know, dude. It's just like one of those things where it's like, you just, what the fuck? Because there was people on there that were, people were like holding up, and they were like, what the fuck? And there'd be a guy like, I got another one. It's like, dude, what the fuck? And like some people were confused, like, what? Yeah, it was bad. It was not a good decision at all. So I'm just like, not gonna.
By the way, if you listen, I am in my new fuck it arc. Okay, I've been kidnapped by Mizkif on his stream recently, and I've learned to just court the drama. So if you guys tee me up and like tell me what, like, give me a hint what the tea is, I'll just say it. Unscripted RP doing an event where you hunt people based on their ethnicity, if it was like Chinese or whatever else, is fucking dumb.
Oh, yeah, they did it twice.
Don't fucking do that. I don't care if it's role play. We don't need to role play out everything. Okay?
Yeah.
Full stop. There, I'll fucking say it.
Obviously, there's things that are acceptable and not acceptable, right? So it's fucking. But I will say this. Is NoPixel the best server? No, that definitely isn't. But you can't get the roleplay experience anywhere else that we've been getting. You can't, because I can't get the same vibe I do on NoPixel with storytelling and character growth on any other server like I can with NoPixel, right? That's why in like late 3.0, mid to late 3.0, it was like you can get everything. You could do everything, right? You can build your character and you can fuck around, and everybody was like, it wasn't hard to find things to do and hard to find things to react to or to interact with. Now that everybody's so spread out, it's so fucking hard. Because our main vibe is somewhere else in a different server. What we used to like, what we normally love to do, right? But we also love the storytelling. So it's like, fuck, why can't we just get both? We just can't in one place.
Right. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead, production.
Mine's real fast. I was just gonna say, I will say, at the very least. Okay. All these other servers being around, even though it says split up the players, which is the worst part about it, because arguably there's players that I miss, and there's a reason I play on other servers basically just to play with other players, right? But at the end of the day, I do think it's good to have this competition because it is, I think, breeding a lot of new intervention on all the different servers,
Yep.
trying to keep up with each other. Whereas before, NoPixel didn't really have this pressure, right? There was no other server really that was at that same level. Now there's multiple, so it kind of is, competition's always going to be good because people are always going to try and make a better product to try and stay ahead.
The thing that I wish people would just relax about that drives me crazy is like, man, they're stealing this idea from this server and they're stealing that idea. That should be a good thing. If another server has a good idea and does something cool, take that idea and make it better. Just keep building off of each other. What the fuck's the problem with that? Why people get so mad?
Yeah,
it's a good thing.
Exactly. I used to work for Riot Games. That was our entire guiding principle.
Okay.
Anyways, no, okay. I agree. Okay, I agree with both your points. I have another hot take coming in. Okay, well, I have two. First of all, I even think on the, for instance, on the Roleplay Podcast, I'm not trying to, I joked about, farming drama being, I'm not even saying that. I think it is okay to discuss things that are drama or that are controversial. I think sometimes we shy away from that as creators or as role players simply to not rock the boat when sometimes the boat needs to be rocked and some of these things need to just be brought forward. Full stop. We should just be for instance, on something like unscripted, I think we should be able to call out on. Now, does that mean that server has no redeeming qualities and is doomed for eternity? No, I think they can learn from that. They have a chance then to learn from those bad mistakes and do a better job in the future. I'm super of the belief that you call people out for their dumb shit, but give them room and space to grow. That's take number one. My hot take number two, in contradiction, so I like that there's all these other servers and I like that they're pushing each other to go, for the love of God, to the role players, stop shitting on other servers and stop burning bridges.
Agreed.
Please. As someone who wants to have those moments where certain groups come back to this server or this role player comes and joins on this other server, please stop just shit talking the servers. It does no one any favors. It's so fucking stupid.
Well, here's the biggest problem, okay? And then you get the Pikachu faces, okay? And people are going to hate me for saying this. Okay, so sorry to every other stream that this has affected you negatively, but you make your own bed when you do this. Oh, this server came out, looks way better. I'm going to go play here. Yo, fuck this server I was just playing. Dog shit. This is bad. This is bad. This is bad. What a dog shit fucking plays. I'm out of here. And now you lost your whitelist. What the hell? That's not fair. It's dude, don't fucking bite the hand that feeds you, bro. What are you doing? So you don't just walk out talking shit and expect not to get slapped for it. This is the reality. You make that decision. If you're gonna leave. Do your thing. Go play and have fun somewhere else. But don't cause shit. Like Blau was saying, you don't gotta talk shit because then you're just risking not being able to come back.
Yeah, it's first of all, it's bad in a few ways. It's okay, but there's people I'm sure and maybe people have valid criticism of the server. And I think there's ways that's not to say don't criticize the server. You can still do that. There are ways to do it tactfully, right? I haven't just said about unscripted. I think if what I'm hearing about their event is true, I think that's just bad. They should not do that. They should learn from that. Cool. Does that mean that unscripted will never whitelist me? I mean, maybe not. That's fine. But maybe they will. Maybe they'll be like, hey, you know what? That was a valid point. I will still let you play on our server. Whatever. I do think that when you leave a server and then you go and shit on it, it's bro, you're not only you're shitting on people that you probably liked on that server and a lot of good role players and a lot of people who are putting in effort. Number one. Number two, dude, the Pikachu face thing is what happens? What happens if NoPixel 5.0 drops with some crazy new shit and new fucking hotness that everyone wants to be a part of? And then people who were ragging on NoPixel are surprised Pikachu not invited to play on it. It's well, but
yeah.
So just don't shit talk things, you know?
Yeah. You can voice your frustrations. I do that all the time. You should have seen the way I went off when they did Debtor's Law. I didn't hold back. I voiced my frustrations about it, But I didn't say, "Oh, this server's dog shit." I didn't like go crazy like that, like a lot of people do, right? You can voice how frustrated you are with certain decisions they make, and if you think it's a bad idea, absolutely you should be allowed to say that without getting slapped for it. It's the way you say things that some people just don't understand is not good, right?
Yeah.
But
It's the difference between, hey, I really don't like Debtor's Law. This really fucks over my character. I think this is a bad decision from NoPixel versus Nikita is a terrible admin and should get banned from both of our chats so that she can't watch me talk shit about her on the Roleplay Podcast, right? Like those are two very different, kind of ways of going. One of those is like, yeah, that's pretty fair. And the other is a criticism of Debtor's Law, right? I'm kidding, Nikita. Chill.
Damn.
Chill.
She's cooking something.
Oh wait,
up for you, don't
she
you
was
worry.
here in the chat earlier. Oh, she's not even here. Okay, don't clip that. Relax. Guys, chill, please. No. So to bring all that back to Demo Productions' point, I do think multiple servers helps. And like you said, I think they're like maybe NoPixel is that more for our theme, is that more kind of scripted role play going on. Not necessarily scripted, but more guided story-driven role play. And then you have like other servers that are much more for that like kind of day-to-day fun little bits here, hijinks here, etc. Yeah, I don't know. I still just miss everyone being.
Yeah, me too. I do. I
miss
also agree with that. I do as well. But I think NoPixel can be that server again, like that big server again, if they can just take what everybody's doing, every vibe of every server, and build it all into one. Make room for everybody. That's when your server will thrive. Because at some point, whatever server does it, is going to have like everybody there, right? This is NoPixel's chance, right? They seen what 3.0 did, and they seen what the build of 4.0 did. Now take out of both, the pros out of both, and leave the cons away from both. Put it into one. You're going to have a fucking dope-ass server where everybody's going to play.
Yeah. I mean, and like let's look at it. At the start of 4.0, 4.0 really was a new character MMO start, go forth, right? Whereas I think you could do, I think they could learn from, I actually really hope 5.0 is learning from the best parts of 4.0 and the best parts of 3.0, just like you said, and kind of combining them into one. Again, it's like, we've even brought up the idea of, and you could argue this is a scripted thing or not, but like, for instance, if in 5.0, like you could, I don't know, let's say Carmen in 5.0, let's say Carmen wanted to own the vanilla unicorn and run it with like Fan's character. Like the two of them are two girls that just own the vanilla unicorn. Dude,
that would be something.
Right? Like I guess here's my thing. It's like we could start 5.0 with everyone has a clean, fresh start and just goes and builds whatever they want. I would also have no problem though being like, hey, you know what? Carmela Corset and Fanny, you guys own the vanilla unicorn. Also, we'll spawn in like stuff for like events for you guys to host, like fucking insane VU events.
Dude, that just goes back to the conversation of use it or lose it, right? The whole use it or lose it thing, right? Like you just need people that are very in touch that can help guide like that's very active in the server, that can be in a position to help make sure things are moving properly, right? Spend some time to do that, right? That's all they need is somebody that's dedicated to do that.
Right. And again, if you wanted to and be like, yo, soda poppin', I'll give you, if you want to bring back Kevin Whippaloo, and I'll put $10 million in his account and let him run Burger Shot with a $10 million bankroll. I have no problem doing that because that's going to it's just going to be role play. It's going to be so fucking like he'll do some insane shit with that. And it's not, I don't think it's going to affect, like you said, those other people where their main thing is, okay, I want to establish a gang, grind and get our resources. I don't think it's going to affect their whole thing that they're doing, you know?
Yeah. Like, dude, you have a good character running Burger Shot, right? That's going to be very active, and it's going to hire characters to work there, right? That are going to make going to Burger Shot awesome, right? You don't want to hire people that are like, hey, I just want to get a job, make some money, right? You don't want that. You want characters, right? And you pay them whatever you want because you have all this money, right? And you set their pay.
And yeah, and imagine now they're getting paid based on like almost like their role play, not like are they standing at the Burger Shot. But then for other people who maybe might not have that experience, there is also senior buns where if you want to do the grind and do the senior bun style work, you can do. That's what I'm saying. It's like I feel like we need the kind of like the systems of both maybe 3.0 and 4.0.
Trying to find a way to make it collide a little bit.
Yeah, production, I'd love for your thoughts on this to interject, and I take this time to do my mandatory coffee break and pee break. Dimo, you better be fucking listening.
Classic.
Don't give me classic.
You've
never worked. By the way, before I go, you've never worked an honest day on your character in your life.
You know, it's funny. Since I've like come back. Okay, hold up. Since I've taken like a break from like roleplay for a bit, and then we obviously came back around with Bev and stuff. I've actually done more grinding in NoPixel recently than I've done in like my whole time of playing on that server, like within the past month, because I feel like it's gotten to the point now where like I feel like for some people grind has kind of reset where they're like doing it for fun almost now. Like there's people I know like people like I hang out with in RP that are like, oh, I want to go do grime or sanitation. I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah, you know, it's kind of nice just to like have something to do, as well as doing like all the other stuff. So it's kind of interesting. I've been doing a lot more of that recently.
People drive around just chilling and making money.
Yeah. So sometimes it's just it's like fun gameplay, and it can lead to like funny dialogue and interaction. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't think grinding is like fully bad.
No, it's not. It's not, right? It's just what you get from it should be a lot more significant, especially for shitty jobs like that. Like it's just, especially at the beginning, like you didn't make much at all, and I'm like, holy fuck, like I'm not running a truck for fucking 6 hours to make $100. Like no way. Yeah. But I don't know. It's just I don't know. The weed selling arc, bro.
I have to pee and grab coffee. BRB.
The weed selling arc was okay. Okay, it wasn't completely terrible because we had a good group of people to do it with, which made things okay. But it was just the fact that we had to be there for so long that made it so bad. Like it was just like, oh my god, you got to do this so much, and it's just. But we work to make it a vibe, right? But if you don't have a good group to do it with, that shit is just dreadful. It's such a dreadful task. Stuff like that.
Yeah, you kind of need to build like role play into that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause if you're just sitting there, you know, selling weed on the side of the road or whatever, it's gonna be grueling. But like, if you can like have like a little RP scenario where you're doing it, you know, catch up with people and what's going on and like their stories and stuff, it can make it a lot more exciting and interesting. I feel. You know?
Yeah. Like there was a time where we had fun. Like we had a spot all the clowns would go to and just hang out and sell weed, and we all just goof around and stuff, and it was fun, but. It was a bit much, like, because you had to spend a lot of time there, and it was like, oh man, kind of drove a lot of people away, unfortunately. But, yeah,
I think that's the other thing too. It does drive people away. So I feel like you need the balance, right? Because people don't want to. I feel like what happens is like when you have to grind to survive, that's when it's miserable. But when you can like grind, just like as like a thing you can do, but you don't need to do it just to like exist. That's like infinitely better, right? But I feel like at the start of NoPixel, especially, like you had to grind just to make enough money to live, like to buy food.
Dude, yeah, you couldn't even eat. Yeah,
yeah, and it was brutal.
I really wanted to go around and like mess with people and like start doing like just get involved with people and stuff, and I couldn't because I couldn't survive for the day.
Yeah,
it was really really bad at first. I'm like, oh my god, this is. I think it was my first day in NoPixel 4.0. I ended stream. And I sat and I told myself, I'm fucked. I was like, I am in trouble.
It was brutal. It was rough. And I'm glad they've like walked that back at least a little bit, because remember there's no passive income either. Passive income is something I think should exist on every server always because
your welfare check.
Yeah, because if people just
Mhm.
want to role play, like just give them a little bit of money to buy some food, and that's they'll be
Well,
fine.
didn't they have that? Or it just wasn't much, right?
No, it was nothing at first, and then they
Oh
added
yeah,
it,
it
and it
was
wasn't
nothing, huh?
much, and then
Yeah.
now they made it like something substantial. But yeah, it was nothing at the start of the server.
Yeah,
Oh,
dude, I'm such a big believer of let people make their money, have their fun, do their thing. And if people have too much money at one point, you don't need to do an update. You can do an event to kill the economy to give people a soft
yes.
swipe. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many ways you can drain their
Yeah.
bank accounts,
More,
and
we should be
yeah,
looser with money and also looser with taking it away.
yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Because it's just like, dude, like people are gonna get mad about it, but it's just like, dude, like you can't not everybody's gonna like it. You can't please everybody. But you can make something fun out of it, right? Because you're not just yoinking stuff away from people, but you can make an event out of it and do something cool, and then whatever. Like it is what it is, and there's a lot of people that can come up with some really cool ideas for events on NoPixel, bro. Like everybody's full of ideas, right? So, uh, staff can really, really bite in on that at some point.
And again, it's
Be
like,
like, hey, anybody got any ideas?
I just like it when it's like we have like kind of like a smaller event once a week and a big event like just kind of periodically. It doesn't have to be every day. I did get, guys, we should set a limit. Dimok, this should be a new thing, production, how many times we can get one guide by chat during the podcast. But Dan23556 wrote 4.0 was designed to facilitate Buddha's serious RP style. Pretty simple. My brother, I just want you to know, and I know I'm a Buddha glazer, but I cannot, like, I'm gonna just quote me on this. Like, I will eventually laugh. Someone clip this, and I'm going to laugh at this clip later on in the future. You will find out in the future. I can't tell you when, and I can't tell you why. I'm gonna laugh at your fucking comment. Not today, not tomorrow, not next week, but someday I'm going to come back to this clip and I'm gonna laugh at you. Thank you so much. Anyways,
Ooh,
Scary.
ominous, spooky. Speaking of spooky, this is actually not spooky at all. Roleplay Podcast is still looking for a sponsor, and the one that I'm actually trying to push for, I shit you not, someone in the chat mentioned ice cream. That's right. Chat, Yasso Greek yogurt bars. They currently don't sponsor us, but they could. This is like eating ice cream, except that it's not as sweet.
that's a yogurt bar?
It's so good. Oh my God. Only 100 calories, 8 grams of protein. As a diabetic, you can eat these incredibly. Look, everyone in the chat that's watching would buy these, Yasso. But right now, they're boycotting you guys. Until you sponsor the Roleplay Podcast, we will not be purchasing any more of these. Thank you. So, yeah, only 100. They're actually so good. Yasso is one of the ones I'm trying to get to sponsor. I don't know. It'd also be a sick sponsor if we were sponsored by ice cream, right?
I'm gonna lie, that looks good.
They're so. Oh, dude, the biggest thing
It's
is
a yogurt one, bro.
Bro, the best thing is I could get them to send out free stuff to you and to Demo. That's actually the biggest one. I go through like a box of these a week. They're so good. Unsold until sponsor. Exactly. Okay. I have a slight transition for us because it is your birthday and a special segment of the Roleplay Podcast that we don't usually do. But I want to interview you a little bit here, Mr. Box, Chatterbox. I feel like a lot of people would want to know this. Okay, it's your birthday. You've just ended the crazy mime conflict. You've done the purgatory arc. Let's take it back. I want you to rewind, go back with me to a journey. It's the start of 4.0, NoPixel 4.0. What was going through your head when you first started in 4.0?
A lot of bad things. 4.0 started. I just remember like my first stream. I actually mentioned this once already with Demo when you were gone. I ended that stream after exploring the server and doing things, and I told myself, I'm fucked. I'm in trouble unless I change things. Because I'm not going to survive here in this server, or I have to find somewhere else to play. Because the way the server was built was really not for playful characters. And people that don't make money or do jobs, right? It's the server was clearly built for those that work, do jobs, make money. That's just how it was. So I got off stream and me and Theo spoke, and we were both a little frustrated. Like, okay, this is gonna be difficult. He had an idea of what he was gonna do. I didn't, because he was gonna go through his. He was planning on doing the straight and narrow arc, right? He was gonna work. Kirk was gonna make something of himself. Chatterbox, it just doesn't make any fucking sense, right? And I'm like, I'm not gonna do that, but I'm gonna stick to my guns, and I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing, and by whatever means necessary. But I was forced to have to be a thief more and take from people to survive, because that was what was built before in 3.0. There was no robbing, there was none of that. You know, you'd mess with people, you do things to people, you know. But I never would rob people. 4.0, you don't have a fucking choice. You got to be a little bit more ruthless, because you're not going to be able to get by. Right?
A hot take, robbing people is really fun, except that like OOC, you feel like it's almost like I want to target and rob people that I know are okay getting robbed. Sorry to interject, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like,
yeah,
there's some times where we would go on robbing sprees and robbing arcs, and I could just hear like sadness in the person's voice that I'm like, oh, you're not acting. Like, you're like sad that like your day's work got robbed. By the way, as another interjection and a side note, holy shit, wait, we should. Oh my God, I don't even know what character I would, I guess on Mickey. I need to introduce you to probably one of my favorite things I've ever done. Have you ever heard of a Day of Devious Licks? Oh.
Day of Devious Licks?
Oh, this is a classic Blau roleplay thing. I used to do this on Mickey. The lore was Mickey, when he woke up on Sundays, was not Mickey. He was actually Michael from the from the public servers. Basically, the way I wrote the lore for Mickey is that Mickey, this, who was a failed gang member with Chain Gang, not like a, he's only a criminal schemer. He's not really a criminal doer. But when I played on the public servers, I would go and I was just a fucking menace. Shoot cops, shooting. I was fully unleashed criminal psychopath. What I'd do is on Sunday, I'd roleplay that Mickey was still dreaming. But to not fuck with people too much and cause sadness, my rule was I would go and I would rob anyone, but I would make them drop one thing from their pockets so that I got the thrill. Oh. So I get the thrill and the rush of robbing people, but you don't have to deal with the like kind of OOC sadness. And you also,
you're not really going into their pockets. You're just making them drop something.
Yeah. And it's honestly, it's honestly amazing, because it's like you get the thrill of robbing people and holding them up at gunpoint, but not the like pain of like actually fucking with someone's work for the day or something.
Yeah.
And it also creates some fucking hilarious shit that you end up with by the end of the day. And usually I end up in some crazy shootout with the cops at the end of the day. Anyways, Day of Devious Licks, we should do it. Sorry, didn't mean to interject all that. Let's get back to the story. We got to do it. Get back to the story. Okay, so you're robbing people in 4.0 because that was a meta for a bit in early 4.0. People were robbing people. So what then?
Yeah, but like there had to be a reason for it though, right? But like, but just to get by, dude, like sometimes, like, dude, you'd have to like hold up people at the fucking senior buns to get food, or then to get food, I got Chatterbox to work at the senior buns, but I made it work, right? This guy doesn't work. Every time he had a job in 3.0, he would get fired instantly, right? Well, who's gonna fire you at senior buns?
Right.
It's right. So I just made the best of it, and I worked the till all the time, right? And just argued with people, and I was just annoying as fuck, right? Made the best of the bad situation and tried to get by. But then once I started getting into debt, I was like, this is gonna be difficult, right? So then it was kind of bad. So I would just mooch off of people and do stuff like that. So it was really hard. The cops, the way they started the PD in 4.0, in my opinion, was not it at all. There was like a thing with car chases that if you got into a car chase, if it was too dangerous, they'd call it off, stuff like that, and it'd be like, why is this? This shouldn't be that deep, right? It was quite frustrating. I couldn't even rent a car. Like I couldn't get a car because lockpicks was super expensive.
You couldn't just rob or search for keys at that time. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just like, fuck. So every time I woke up at the apartment, I'd run to the BBMC, the old BBMC turf, the Billabong there. They had that bike stand, and hope that there was bikes spawned there, local bikes. So then I would go get a bike and use the bike for the day. Other than that, I had to run because I could not get into a vehicle. It was just impossible, right? And it was really, really lame. Then I got stuff going with the clowns a little bit to try to get like just some RP going. And it was good, it was good, but it was still very difficult to play. Like it was not the same vibe. We made the best of the bad, but fuck, bro, we were suffering. Like ain't none of us were happy, like at all.
Side note, we're actually sounding like a real two white guys with podcast mic manosphere podcast right now. But instead of like talking about like how we were like, yo, I was grinding every day, man, trying to get my crypto up, like, trying to, instead of that, we're talking about how downtrodden you were on a roleplay server. But I swear it's like it's like that same vibe. Who's the one guy who trained a bunch like as a Navy SEAL, David Joggins, whatever? I feel like I'm listening to like, fuck man, woke up. I fucking woke up. I had to go get a bike, man. I had to get a bike. I rode that bike uphill, freezing rain. Had to come over. Clowns weren't around. Couldn't get on the train. Like that's what it feels like I'm listening to. Anyway, sorry, continue.
It's pretty accurate. I imagine. It's so sad. An idea sparked, and this is where I got angry. Clown Risk, big 3.0 game. I'm like, we can do this with people. We can spark some fun here because everybody loved it, dude. It was such a fun game. Like it's such a fun thing to play.
Yeah, you made me play. You made me play it. It was great.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It got banned because they were like, it doesn't make sense for people to do that. And it was our only way to kind of we were doing with people. We were like, you have to pay this much to do it. The winner gets the pot, but we get a percentage of it. Right? So everybody wins. Like the winner gets the money and then the clowns get a little bit so we can live, right? So we were doing that and it was fun as hell. And then I was told that we're not allowed to do it anymore because it doesn't make sense for people to go do that. And it's just like, it doesn't make sense to run around in the street with a gun and shoot people either. Like just knowing that your cops are going to shoot you. It doesn't make sense for a guy to get out of a car and shoot 10 cops. None of that. Nothing makes sense. It's fucking role play. But they told me, no, you're done. And then I was like, this is just fucked. The turning point, the literal turning point was fucking Rae Mond, dude. The whole Rae Mond thing starting was the turning point.
I need to hear this. Like, I need to hear the details of this. So what? All I know is that you found her ID. Give us the details. Okay. Fully lay out the details. How did this start?
Scruffy came to Chatterbox because he found Rae Mond's ID in the Senior Bun's trash can or some shit. So he just picked it up. And then he came to, we were all talking somewhere at the pier or whatever. He goes, hey, Chatterbox, hey, I got this ID, some Rae Mond, whatever. I know you could do something crazy with this. You want to, use it for crime and stuff. Because you get fake IDs. Somebody asks for your ID. Oh, yeah, this is who I am, right? Like, we stupid shit like that, right?
Right.
So it was her expired ID that she just dumped. Because it was January. So it was like 2024 to 2025, or 2020, or whatever. What the fuck was it, Chad? 23 to 24, right? Or 2023 ID expired going into 2024. And then, so Scruffy gave it to Chatterbox. And then, even at the time, I was like, Rae Mond, who the fuck?
Because you guys didn't interact much in 3.0, right?
Probably twice, but I didn't remember, right? Like, it was such a long time ago. I didn't fucking remember.
Do you know what's funny? I don't think I interacted with you on Mickey much in 3.0. I actually interacted with Theo a lot more.
Yeah, it was only a couple of times. It was one time with the whole face thing.
Yeah.
Because I was like trying to help Kirk get away with it. And then there was a couple other times that Mickey would call because I was fucking Lang. But I don't remember what the conversations were. But yeah, because I kept attacking the Roosters rest and shit.
Oh yeah, that shit was funny.
But so I was just like, okay, so I kept the ID. And then when I started doing the whole, I was back at the Senior Buns and people were in the kitchen and they kicked me off the till. So they kicked me to the kitchen. I was like, I'm just gonna be a menace in the kitchen, right? And just yell at people and stuff like that. And I showed the ID, and I don't remember if it was an accident or not, but she was in there with a Gigi and some it was Kitty and some other people, but I didn't know. Like I didn't fucking know. I was just in there with a bunch of people. I didn't know who they were. And then she came up to me and said, "Why do you have my ID?" And I'm like, I try to play it off like, what are you talking about? Like, I think that's what I did, whatever. So went outside, and they all approached me outside, and they said, "Hey, can Rae Mond get her ID back, please?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure, no problem. It's in my car over here." I tried to run. So I tried to run. I was gonna drive off with the ID, just typical menace shit. And Benji fucking smoked my shit. Gigi was beating the shit out of me, and then Benji came and stabbed me. And then they robbed me, took the ID back. And I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna use this to go after her and blame her for me getting stabbed.
Pause. Demo, classic Benji, right?
Classic.
That's fire Benji right there. Sorry.
Yeah.
Some days you wake up, you get air Benji. Some days you get water Benji. You got fire Benji that day. Sorry.
Yeah, he smoked my shit.
Continue.
So, but my whole idea, this is where it gets kind of nuts, because I wasn't going to do anything with it. I was just kind of going to let it go. I fucked with her a little bit, and then I was just letting it go, right? Just because I knew that, I remember the time, I'm like, hey, she's CG and stuff like that, and she has all these gang backing. I'm like, I don't want to get fucked up for like weeks on end, so I'm just going to do a little bit of verbal stuff, and that's it. And I left it be. Then somebody in my chat, it was 803 EP. I remember 803. He redeemed Chatterbox prank call, because I have this for channel points. And he said, please do it to her. And I'm like, all right, sure. I'll prank call her. So I called her as threatening to kill her. And dude, the way she responded to it was like me going, oh my God, we have something here. Because she role played. Like, it's normally when you prank call people and you threaten people and you do shit, it's like, oh yeah, fuck you, I'll fuck you up, the typical thing, right? She was like, oh no, please, and like begging and crying on the phone and stuff. I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, okay, I'm gonna kind of lean into this a little more. So I just kept going with it, and I was getting all the other clowns to call her and stuff like that. Just and it was escalating. People were like, she was responding really well to it, and I was like, this is great. I'm like, this is actually fun. Right? Still was not actually going to kill her, by the way. Just going to threaten her, and I was just going to keep that going until, it just got bored or whatever, right?
Right.
And then you called.
Wait, but before we get into that, I also have a question. I don't know how much maybe we need to bring Rae back on here and ask her this, but I genuinely want to know, at what point did Rae start 4.0? Like, was this planned or intentional, where she was like, I'm just going to just fucking crank up I don't know if it's because she was acting in movies more or wanted to just go all out, but
I'm not gonna lie, dude. Based on the clips that I saw in 3.0 of her with Chang Gang, she always kind of did roleplay. Like, she always did this in-depth story built for her own character. I don't know too much, but just based off clips I've seen, it's like she was always kind of doing it, but I didn't know this till way after, obviously.
Maybe you need to send me these clips. I'll say this about her. I've seen the clips of her in 3.0 where she's grinding off stream and shit, weed grinding. Listen, I'm not saying Ray's roleplay wasn't good in 3.0. I just don't.
She did it in 4.0. She grinded lots. It still gave me some of the best content I've ever had.
All I know is I just feel, and again, this could be because I just didn't see the right clips or just didn't see the right stuff. And this is coming from me, where it's I had shitty role play in 3.0 and 4.0, but I feel like at some point going into 4.0, I think there was we should honestly, I shouldn't speculate. We should ask her at some point. I'm really curious to see if she had flipped, maybe even wrote something I'm going to treat these situations more, because I think that was a big difference that I saw was, like you said, whereas a lot of people, you get a prank call from a character, I'm gonna fucking kill you, and it's oh, fuck you little pussy bitch, yeah. But she added in a level of realistic fear to her character that made scenes so much more dynamic.
Yeah, and that's what kept it going for the first bit. And my entire plan, I was not actually going to kill her. Like I wasn't, because I was just fucking around, right? Because I didn't think anything good was gonna come out of it. I'm like, I'll just mess with her a bit and whatever, right? It was everything that was happening from that point on, like the way she reacted to it and who she got involved. Like you, dude.
Wait, so yeah, what I forgot what happened where to because Mickey calls Chatterbox, right? And what did I offer to you?
You wanted to find a way to get this to stop without her getting killed.
Yes.
You were just trying to find something to like. You were just trying to find that.
Oh my God! Wait,
out.
wasn't the out? Didn't we agree on she would play clown? I think all I know is if she lost something, she would have to be a clown for a day. Was the deal?
Yeah, and do anything we said, and you would have to do it as well. And you agreed to the terms, right? But if if you guys won and we lost, that we are like we're gonna wipe our hands with it and we're leaving her alone and that's it. And she fucking won, and I'm like, fuck.
Right, and again,
from there.
and again, that was one of those things where like I think I was trying to set up the lose, like for me when I'm like, oh, like we lose is like, oh, we have to be clowns for a day. Like that's just, like I said, that's a loss in role play that is a win for content. But that I think
the whole idea, I was just gonna get you guys to do some whack shit like with us, just to, like I'm talking like terrorism level stuff, just to see what would happen, right? But
so then what?
Never got that moment.
So so we won clown risk. You guys had to leave her alone, but I guess like that was the slippery slope because now she'd gotten a taste of the clown life. It was like a draw. No, I mean it's like that's maybe this is the part that I don't remember. What happened after that?
So after that, and I'm hoping I'm not missing anything because it was a long time ago. I think that was it for a while, and then she called, saying, "Hey," no, she sent out a text because she was involved in Fanny's date auction, trying to get like, "Oh, come bid on me at the date auction," stuff like that. But it was a copy paste thing. So I was like, there's no fucking way that she just did a copy paste, right? So I phoned her, like Chatterbox phoned her and just started grilling her about it. Don't you ever send those again, otherwise, this is gonna happen, whatever. She goes, oh no, like she played it off and was like, no, just come, please come and bid on me at the date auction. It'd be really cool, stuff like that. And I'm like, what do you think makes you so special? You think I would come and date on you at an auction? I'm like, I'll bring $200. I'm like, cause that's all that's overpriced. So like I was just being mean, right? So I actually went and I was only gonna bid like $50, right? Just for the lulz. Twinkles was with me. And we're talking and it's like, bro, we can really ruin her life. This is our get back. We win. We can just get her arrested on some crazy charge, get her the 9s. So Twinkle steps up and bids like, chat, what was it again? $23,000? And at that time,
that was a lot. That was early on in the server, yeah.
This guy just put everything in the bag and just threw it. And I'm like, this guy's crazy. We won. And I'm like, we are going to ruin her. She is going to prison for some crazy shit. And it went completely the opposite way of that. Because embraced everything and had fun, dude. And it was actually like so much fun. And it just, I don't really exactly remember everything that happened and how it went from there, but it was just like, we should do it again. We should do it again. We should do it again. And I'm like, what the fuck? And it just got like really, I don't know, it got really fun. So the characters became kind of friends. Oh yeah, and then another arc happened where Ember, Ember the clown?
Yeah. She's
like, Chatterbox is like, stay the fuck away from me. Like, because Ember was like super annoying to Chatterbox. And she was like Chatterbox and wanted to date Chatterbox. And Chatterbox was like, not happening. No. And went to Rae and was like, can you pretend to be a psycho about me to get her off my back? And she was like, done.
The classic pretend girlfriend becomes the real girlfriend.
Yeah, it was like that thing. And then it just led into this huge arc, which was like the greatest arc I've ever done. The most fun, random shit that ever would pop up that I was like, I don't know if I'm going to do this. Because she was kind of like, leaning in towards like, oh, I'm kind of like, he was cool, like doing that thing. I'm like, I'm not doing that. My wife had to convince me to do it because I'm like, I didn't want to do it. At first, I was like, no, I'm not doing relationship RP. Even if it's silly and goofy, I'm not fucking doing it. And my wife was like, you should just try it. It'd be fun. Like she was like really like pushing me. And I'm like, I'll entertain it for a little bit. And here we are.
Listen, I think you guys convinced a lot of people why relationship RP works really well.
Yeah, because it was just like, it's very clear, distinct, like these are characters. It's not fucking real, right? And it was like, it was a mix between some like, serious like relationship stuff and a mix of like really fun, goofy shit and like toxic shit too. Like it was everything. And it was so much fun to do.
Bro, I think, Dimok, you've even done, wait, Dimok, am I allowed to dox that you're married, or did I just do that?
Yeah.
Oh, did I just dox you?
No.
Is that public? Okay. Well,
Yeah,
okay. Well, if it wasn't, it is now.
No, it is.
I knew it was. That's okay. So like you're married and you've also done relationship RP, but you also do it in a funny way. Isn't it like the whole joke? It's like your ex, like Brecker's ex-wife is a lesbian now or something.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, she always was. And the thing is, like, we set that scenario up because I was like, I wanted to have a connection with Summer's character because we role play so well together, and I was like, this would be fun because then I can kind of avoid relationship role play on Breckers because I was like not really interested in that for the most part. And I was like, this is like a fun way to avoid that and have it be like, oh yeah, I have an ex-wife though, but like also she's not into me, but like also we're like best friends. So it was like kind of like a fun little intro to that. But yeah, I was trying to kind of think of fun ways to go about it and stuff. So
No, that's cool.
Okay,
Yeah.
so so then you guys start this like relationship RP arc. When did it like, and so where did it go from there? What was like the next major escalation in the 4.0 storyline?
Dude, I don't really know. Like it was just a lot. Like we just started that and then it turned into like conflict with like Chang Gang and then we did like this cringe war too, which was I'm never doing that again ever. Fuck that. It was awful. And then it was just like and then it caused like things with the clowns to fall apart, which was really awesome. Like the Bon arc, like hating her, and then everybody was turning on each other, like his.
Oh my god, dude,
like,
that was when it intersected with my role play because I had been doing the whole My Criminal Academia thing and had been Dimok, you and I had been setting that up.
It affected the company a little bit.
Well, it was
the
sick.
Tunnel scene. Remember the tunnel scene?
That was one of the best scenes in 4.0.
Bro, like Rae cooked on that. It was like holy fuck. And like I said, like chat, unscripted as fuck. It just happened. It just fucking happened.
I don't know if I've told you this. That was like a weird one for me where like Ray's role play was so good that I knowing her as a person like out of game was also like, oh my god, like is my friend okay? Like I was like, yo, you good? Like when it was like, just like, oh yeah, like I'm just role playing. I was like, you were like fucking crying, like, and she's like, oh yeah, I can just do that. I was like, oh fuck, like that was like
she got hella immersed.
Yeah.
But like that's like really nice to see people get like that sometimes because it's like, wow, dude, like, fuck. It was a good story, dude. And she cooked so many other good ideas during that, dude. She carried, bro. Like, it helped me that the whole year of 24 helped me like discover a new side of my abilities, and for me to kind of like break open it out of my shell a little bit to kind of like do a little bit more and get away from just doing one thing, which was just being the just an L guy in SBS, to just kind of being able to spread a story out and create a little bit more. She brought that out of me. And I'm telling you right now, I don't give a fuck what anybody says. If I did not get the opportunity to go through what I went through with Valkyrie's character throughout that whole year, never would have been making stuff like I am today. There would have been no chance. Probably never would have stayed on NoPixel either. Wouldn't have survived. 100%. Guaranteed.
Wow.
Like there is no like ifs, ands, or buts about it. I would not have probably survived there. I would have left. I can almost guarantee it.
Yeah. Damn.
because the server is built for what we're doing now. Like it's very hard, and unless you're doing stuff like we're doing now, what are you gonna do? It's hard, right? And it gave me a drive and helped me believe that I can do other things and survive until change happens, right? Which is what we've been doing even the year after. She's been gone for over a year now, and we've been doing that. It's been arc after arc after arc. It's been progression and story building since. If I didn't have the experience that I did with that whole arc with Rae, none of this would have came out. None of it would have happened. Can't change my mind, like, because I know what my intentions were going in that server at that time, and I knew I was in trouble and I was having a hard time. So, you know, it was a lot, and she carried a lot, and she showed me that you can make a lot of changes with your character and bounce around and shift things, and it can all turn out to be good things and work. Like her ties with Changang. She was Changang, but in 4.0, she very rarely hung out with Changang because she was doing story stuff, but Changang was still there. And it just created a whole different dynamic, and it was really cool.
I mean,
she made changes with her character. I'm like, it's good to make changes. Holy fuck. Because it did nothing but create good role play.
You're also, listen, you're also selling yourself short. And I will say this, and I'm happy to criticize Rachel as well and use her government name and have her get mad at me. But I even think that Rachel, I think she would say that, like, I think she also owes a lot to you. I think you elevated her RP in 4.0. I think it was a rising tide lifts all ships kind of moment. And by the way, then to glaze both of you, I think you guys like brought about like a lot of great role play for, this is why we're celebrating this on your birthday. After this, no more glaze. Wait, Dimo, do you have glaze alert? Do we still have that?
Oh shit! I have to pull that up. Man.
Yeah,
It's been so long.
Can you go find? You need to keep glaze alert on deck. What the fuck, man? No, I think you guys. I think you guys genuinely elevated a lot of. I think if I was to like give a description of NoPixel, like NoPixel 4.0, I think I would even think the staff. I think if you were to ask Voodoo or Qual, I think they would even say they kind of missed on what they wanted to deliver, like as far as the server wise, but I think what made up for that were people kind of elevating their role play to another level, arguably elevating GTA 5 RP to another level. I just feel like we kind of got stuff in NoPixel 4.0 that we just hadn't seen before, and I think at the top of that list is what you and Rae pulled off. So
yeah,
thank you for that.
You're so welcome.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, mutual benefit then. I guess, it was. I think we were a very good team for that whole thing. But I'll tell you this right now, never doing something like that again. With if the story ever ends, where it ever ends, how it ever ends, I will not do relationship RP ever again after this. Because it's
why not?
You can only do it with specific people, dude. You need to do it with somebody that's on the same page, because it's RP, bro, and sometimes things get weird, and I do not fuck with stuff like that. So with Rae, it was super easy and nice, because it's like there ain't gonna be no weird shit in there, right? It's very cut and clear what it was, right? Very cut and clear, right? I have seen and heard too much things about relationship RP that I'm like, I'm not doing this shit. Dude, that's why I didn't want to do it at first.
Bro, 4.0 really was like the year of like relationship RP, with some of it going really well and some of it just being like,
yeah,
what? Like,
yeah. It's just one of those things. It's like, I tend to stay away from all that stuff. Like, it needs to be like what people need to aim for, the best relationship RP, hands down, hands fucking down, Win Song and Happy. Chat, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. That is what relationship RP should be. That is some of the funniest relationship ever. They like those characters are tied together like they're like glue, but it's the most toxic, funny shit you'll ever watch. Like they're like perfect. Like they role play shit the best. That's relationship RP. If you know, you know.
It's funny you say this because it's like I did not. I wouldn't even call it relationship RP. It was like it was sort of there as a thing, as a joke, kind of from like Mickey's mayorship arc, where Mickey married Peach. But we never actually like relate. We never like did any role. But then as I played more variety games with Jenny and have like done stupid shit with Jenny, especially when it's like me, Jenny, like Kyle, or like Dimok doing shit, it made me realize I would 100% do relationship RP with Jenny's characters, like with Pete. 100%. It's literally why I have like Mickey and Peach have not gotten divorced and are trying to save their marriage, even with Mickey being gay. Because like it's like you said, there are people where you know you can do good relationship RP with them, and it's funny as fuck.
Yeah. Can't just do it with anybody. You gotta know, like going into that shit.
Oh, me and Sab. I actually I did relationship RP with Sab. That was also.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
Do you want to know the really funny thing about that? Is it's like he had Slacks be gay. I had Mickey was gay. Me and Sab are both straight. I thought it was just funny to me that in a world of like, and I do think that this happens, and I've probably been guilty of it too, of the like when straight guys kind of do like gay RPs, it's like, like I sucked your dick, I fuck me in the ass, oh you fucked me so good. It's very like kind of like sexual and not like it's very and I've been probably guilty of that too. When me and Sab did it on Slacks and Mickey, it was like deeply romantic. Like we were doing like I was like really role playing as like a gay dude in love with this other guy. Like it was like very deeply touching and romantic between the two characters, and like really kind of sad. And I was like, oh shit! Like, and I always just thought it was funny. It's like he had two straight guys, one, questionably straight guy, right behind the scenes, just role playing like a gay fanfic out, like shit like that. I don't know. It was funny.
Must have been fun though. You know what I mean?
It was. Oh, it was a gay tragedy too. Was the other thing? It was like a tragic romance. Oh man.
It was a tragic romance.
Yeah. Oh,
what's tragic about it?
Oh, like Mickey and Slacks, like it crashed out over Brecker's death, and like they basically like not that like the whole romance started with the two of them. So throughout all of 4.0, Mickey would secretly leak information to the PD to Slacks about like the craziest shit going on in the city. And the reason Mickey did it was basically like, it was kind of like a checks and balance. Like Mickey kind of overseeing the criminal world to leak this stuff to Slacks whenever it was like, hey, this shit is too dangerous even for the criminal world. Like getting a hold on it, like kind of like keeping things in check, right? And they would like kind of like give each other information and then eventually they fell in love, and then with Brecker's death they basically both gave up on the city and like descended into anarchy, and that's why Slacks left. Spicy.
Oh shit! Wait, I thought Slacks did his character did he perma that character or no?
No,
I thought he got shot. Oh no, that was actual Justice. I forgot. Okay, I thought Slacks
Sab's a one voice Andy. It's tough.
I thought I keep forgetting that it wasn't Slacks that got executed in the prison. I always thought it was Slacks for some reason. Fuck. But no, that must have been fun though. Stuff like that's really cool. I remember Dundee and Barry Benson did RP like that too. It was really great.
Dundee and Barry Oh yeah, Dundee and Barry Benson had like they had a pretty like it was a pretty serious like kind of like loving arc almost. Yeah.
Yeah. They got married and everything, dude. It was like it was great what they did.
Damn.
Yeah.
No, I think relationship RP can work. It's like you said, it's like it has to be with the right person, and it really has to be like for the sake of for the sake of creating content, not trying to create an actual relationship. Like, not to say, listen, I think sometimes maybe some people do find people that they, I don't know. I don't want to, I'm not trying to judge people. Hey, it is what it is.
I don't know. But yeah, so I don't know, 4.0 as much as I dislike how it started and what it was, like what it turned out, like, the mechanics of it and whatever, it still gave me one of the greatest roleplay experience I've ever had. So even with its flaws.
Damn.
Yeah.
Production, do you have any comments here?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all kind of feel the same way about it. I mean, I think it just needs, it just needs to serve a purpose, I feel like, and there's a lot of really good purposes it can serve, right? The idea that somebody like cares about you that much, right? In like the roleplay context, right? Makes all the stakes that much higher, right? If your character gets shot, that person's got to go to your ICU bed, right? If something happens to your character, that person's gonna have to respond, and it's directly linked to your character. So there's like a lot of like heightened stakes because of it. But there's also like, the idea that like, it's just gonna last forever. How much can you trust each other? Like, what if you told this person all of your gang secrets, right? The relationship ends. Boom, they know all your secrets. Like, they go tell other people that, right? There's a lot of really interesting facets to it. I think people just need to remember to keep it interesting, right? Keep that shit like going, keep it spicy. Don't let it just be a complacent thing. I think that's kind of like where I like feel like it loses its value when it's just like, just logging on and just be like, and there's nothing escalating or changing with the relationship. It's just kind of the same. Like, it always should be moving somewhere, I feel. So.
Oh my God, wait, is that like relationship advice for relationships in real life too? Damn.
No, absolutely. I mean, I guess so. I feel like you'd be happy if your relationship was content in real life, right?
No, you got to keep them on their toes.
Okay, yeah, shit, you're right.
Actually,
you're right.
by the way, as one that I do, another thing is like where I think people like keep it light, dude. I still, one of the funniest relationships or like things that occurred in 4.0 was Mickey and April hating each other and being rivals, and then Brecker's trying to date April and falling in love with April was the funniest shit ever. Oh my God. And then didn't also Breckers at one point fall in love with Jan? Basically, Breckers falls in love with like all the foozes that Mickey hates. Oh my God, that was so good.
Oh my God.
Yeah, those were good bits. Those are very good bits.
I wonder if we're gonna get a new fooze in 5.0. I think that'd be fun. Like a new main one, not like a new, because there's like the side foozes. There's like December, like August that like come in every now and then. But I wonder if we'll get like a new main foos.
Rae wanted to make a foos. Didn't Rae make a foos but just never played her? October foos. Yeah, I remember that. She never actually played her. Yeah, but I don't know. Like if somebody's gonna make an actual like long-term foos, it's something like you should always ask like Foozly, right? Like beforehand.
100%.
Because I know Firecrack that he who plays Stumbles Fumbles is having an issue where people make Fumbles characters and just show up, and he's like, "Who the fuck is this? Like, what the hell?" He's like, "Dude."
I only made December because Foozly asked me to, and I'm pretty sure it's just because she had the foresight to realize that I would eventually get a dev menu, and I swear to God. It's gonna be so painful for me to do this in 5.0, and it's probably why I'll only wake up December like once a month in 5.0. But like I'm gonna have to in character now. Like if I fly in, I'll just have to like give money to January and April. But I feel like that was actually one of my like reasons why I thought it'd be fun to have a dev. One of my first inspirations for a dev menu, actually, fun fact, before Mickey and doing the heist, was December, with the purpose of December carrying about $100,000 of cash on him at all times and could be robbed as like basically like a world event, like we have heists that occur in the server. Why not a world event where it's like, oh, if you know that this character, it's like a Where's Waldo. If you know he's in the server, you can try to rob him of 100,000. But at the same time, if you rob him of the 100,000, he might go hire like, I don't know, Hydra to go track you down. And he might pay Hydra like 200,000 to go track you down and kill you, right?
Yeah.
A fun use of a fun use of and having him be a rich. I like the idea of rich characters as long as it is not a main character that you're constantly playing. Like,
Yeah.
it's literally like my premise for December basically is, and I want to keep this in 5.0 is I wake him up like maybe once or twice a month, and there's some crazy shit he does because he's extremely rich. Consequences happen, crazy shit happens. Boom.
Yeah. I've always wanted to, like, one day, I'm hoping one day I can get the privileges to do something like, I mentioned this before, like a character that's just like a sketchy character that like goes up to like random people, like more solo people or newer people that be like, hey, need your help. Get in a back alley somewhere and just like, psst, come here. You know, somebody that randomly that you just it like kind of encounters you, right? And then you give them a task to do something for you that makes sense. Like something happened to this guy,
Right.
you need something. Go here, do this, go do this guy, question this guy. Like just do some role play, and then just be like, what do you want? You want a car? I'll give you this car. You know, it's like a nice car or something like that. Just give people like stuff to get them on their feet. Like stuff like that in the server, just
Ooh.
lurking around would be so cool, right? And just randomly that'll happen. Like you just right place, right time. You walk by and somebody just says, "Hey, come here." You're just standing like in an alleyway somewhere, and it's just whoever walks by. If you could kind of tell that, like, you know, it's not just some rich somebody already rich. You can just like try to initiate something, right? RP
Yeah.
tutorial intro quest. That's yeah, John. That's a good way of putting it.
Oh my God. Wait, dude. I kind of did this on, so yeah, no, I like what you're saying. I kind of did this on Mickey a little bit because, right, I was supposed to do like, you know, like the December stuff's like really big over the top. Oh my God. If you rob this really rich guy, you get a lot of money, but he might send a really powerful gang after you. And the Mickey stuff is like, here's a crazy fucking heist. You have to be an elite crew to do it. I did randomly give I was like, listen, I'll give you guys $50,000 if you can get a cop into the Vanilla Unicorn and handcuff them to the stripper pole. And it was like the role play reason was Mickey testing out like this like new group of criminals kind of abilities. But I like this idea of like not even doing it on Mickey. Like, God, the three of us should do this. They should be like the sketchy quest givers, guy and alley quest givers, where it's like, instead of giving you a big fucking mission, it's like, we give you a small little thing to do. And the reward is a small little thing, but it's still like something that like,
but you also give room for them to make a decision in there. Like, hey, I got this briefcase, right? Like you're saying with the Simmer, let's say there's $20,000 in here, or like $500,000 in here. No, not 500. That's just too much. Let's just say there's $90,000 in here.
Yeah.
Okay.
In this economy, not too much.
Transport this, grab it, and take it in the car and transport to my guy. But so they can do it and then be like, I'll give you $25,000 or $30,000 if you complete that, right? Or they can steal that money. And if they steal it, then you go to somebody else and be like, this guy has to get dealt with. Right?
Oh, shit.
So it's up to them to decide what they want to do with it, right? They want to risk stealing it, or they're just going to take a smaller cut and be good and walk away with their hands clean. Right?
I like
you
that.
can always throw in things like that, right? Just to get people like in on something, right? And it just it could provide for more than just that one person, right? Depending on how they play it out.
Yeah, and I don't know. I just love I love the sketchy, like it's even just the scene of like sketchy alley character that gives you like a little bit more of like kind of like a grimy job to do. Ooh.
Yeah, and then people can be like, I don't know if I'm gonna do this, and they could be like, nah, I'm good, and miss out on an opportunity thinking it's a setup or something, right? But the one person that's just like, fuck it, yeah, I'll do it, right?
You know one thing that we should also think about. Honestly, we need to do like a day. I mean, granted, I have a lot of ideas I still just haven't executed on. So I need to just go execute. But like, dude, we should do a day off stream where we just come up with some of these. Because Dimok, I haven't talked to you about this, but because we ran, like, I've been doing some random funny ones. Like during the whole like 100 people beat up a gorilla, I put on God mode and just like came in with the Sasquatch outfit and just started beating up the cops. Like, just because it's like a funny bit used to the admin tool there. But I feel like we could do more of these kind of like, you know, smaller, lighter weight uses of it. Here's the one I really want to. And granted, they already are given a little bit more tools to do role play, and it kind of goes them. I want to know what's something cool we could do for the cops. I'm wondering if it's like, what if like what if like we give cops like you even said like sketchy out like codename sketchy alley guys. I'm almost like, what if at the same time we build out role play for the cops to investigate sketchy quest guys? Because sketchy quest guys are not main character, like they're not armed. We don't care if they get fucking booked forever, but like we could like literally like maybe the cops get an anonymous tip off any day. Sketchy quest guys are giving these jobs, like we give them a tip off that like, and so now they're like patrolling alleys, like looking for these like guys, and they get to do more of that investigative RP instead of just ping chasing.
Yeah, dude. Or like, like put it this way. You meet up with somebody, right? And you'd be like, but you have like a car, and beside the car, like there's a bin full of fucking drugs, bro. And you'd give a quest to somebody saying, hey, I need you to transport this stuff to me, and I'll give you some of the cheddar, right? And if they do it, but the cops get tipped off. So they're taking a risk by going to do this for a big amount of money if they complete it. But we're also risking ourselves that the cops might find us while we're doing the handoff, and we're all screwed.
I fucking love that. Yeah, we need to do shit like that. Because I want to try and find more ways to like also like bring in other groups. Someone in chat said, "What about like the medical staff?" Okay, granted, this is just Blau using dev panel to help his friends, but when Kyle was playing, I just saw him randomly on the server playing a doctor character. I think what's his doctor character? I think his doctor died. Is it Dr. Skip? Or no, not Doctor. What's Kyle's doctor character? Whatever his doctor character is, I was like, fuck it. I'll just spawn in and drive a pharmacy truck up to him and give him every single drug in the server. And I literally pulled up and I gave him like probably hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of every single drug that existed. And I was like, yeah, here's the prescription drugs for you to give out to the city. Because I was like, I just feel like it's Kyle. He's gonna do something funny with it, right?
Yeah,
like so.
Yeah.
Sometimes I literally will.
That's fire. That's fire.
Yeah. Yeah, we gotta do more of that. All right. Listen, we've been yapping. It's been 2 hours probably. It's that time. Chat, whether it is about unscripted versus scripted, the nature of server ecosystems, which gang is the objectively best gang in all of roleplay history, or whatever else, this is now the time for chat. You guys can ask your questions or drop your hot takes. Hot takes with chat, roleplay hot takes. We'll pick them out, respond to them. If we see some that are too controversial that we don't want to talk to, we'll ignore them and pretend like we never saw them. Thank you so much.
Chat, you can't say clown gang though. You can't say clowns. That's bias. It's straight up bias. All right.
I'm gonna come in with my own chat or hot take, and because I'm gonna self glaze. I think the company was one of the coolest fucking like gang organizations. I think we were one of the coolest ones because we were.
The house heist was dope.
And the house heist was dope. I will die on that. Yes, the house heist of Jean-Paul Robbins was fucking sick. My whole plan with the company was just to have a gang that wasn't insular and only operating within their whole gang. So we based it as a company, and the whole contractors shit and all that was literally so that we could pull in other people to do jobs and do fun collabs with different people, like collab jobs of people you'd never see together. And unfortunately, the frictions between that and like traditional gang mentality, and that's why me and Demo left. But
I'm just gonna grab a water bottle quick.
All right, while you're grabbing a water bottle, we will read. Me and Demo will grab some hot takes.
Yeah.
If you could give the dev menu to any other streamers to push RP, who'd you give it to? Demo, so that he doesn't have to bother me and wait for me to fumble through the menu and kill him a million times when we're setting stuff up.
God, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
That would be nice. The amount of times I've ended up in that ocean.
Someone said, Blau, would you use the dev menu to help ICU doctors? No.
Oh, here's a hot take.
Because I don't care about other people's role play unless they're my personal friends.
Okay,
I'm kidding.
crazy.
I'm kidding.
He's kidding. He's kidding, chats. Okay, this is a hot take. guns shouldn't be allowed in the server at all. As somebody who hates gunplay, I think that's crazy. What do you mean, no guns? We should have guns. It's Grand Theft Auto. A server without guns? That was the beginning of 4.0. Remember that? Remember how long it took us to get guns in 4.0?
That was actually pretty sick though. And we literally had to rob the cops to get, like, I think the company was the first people to get guns because we robbed the cop of their gun.
Yeah. It was wrench wars. Remember, every war was just wrenches.
Wrench warfare. Good times.
I just think there's a balance with guns, obviously, always.
Would you give Chatterbox a dev panel? No.
Don't tell him that chat when he comes back. Don't tell him.
I wouldn't listen. Chat. I wouldn't give any. Listen. I wouldn't give me a dev panel. The fuck? I don't know what Buddha was thinking. Listen. The only it will be made apparent at some point in our lifetime. It will be made apparent why Buddha gave me a dev panel at some point, and it's not just because of nepotism. Okay. That point is not today, but at some point it'll be made apparent. And the other thing is, like, I also think it is better that this is my hot take. A hot take is I think it is fine that I have a dev panel and don't log into the server every day. I think it helps spread out, like, literally.
No, that's true.
I think it is. I think we do run the risk of over reliance on it, of overstimulation. I think it is good to. That's why I actually really like the balance of, like, knowing that Capped is using his, like, pretty frequently and, like, doing arcs on his. Whereas I come in, I'm not just like every day waking up like, yo, how can I use the fucking dev pound? It's like I come in a couple times a month with some stuff with it, cool, and then I dip out. I actually think that is a good thing. So there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, someone said there should only be 2 restaurants in the city and they should be rivals. I agree.
Oh, the restaurant? Yeah, we've been over that one, and I 100% agreed with that too. 2 major restaurant chains, that's it. And role players own it. Use it, lose it. Done.
Yep.
Yeah, I think one of the things I really hope changes in the future with NoPixel especially is having all the restaurants in one hub. Like, I feel like there was just so much. I don't know. It's so interesting to have to go across the city to, like, the different restaurants, and also kind of helps them all feel more unique. You know what I mean? And kind of create their own vibes. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
You know, Burger Shot.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we kind of lose that now.
Okay. Oh, here. Oh my God. This is a great spicy take from a chatter. And it's actually such a complicated answer. They wrote, is it okay to create a misogynistic and racist character just for RP? Like to RP as Donald Trump? Or should we always RP PG characters who don't offend anyone? Now, I want to pause and wait for people's initial reactions. Wait, no, this is actually a really, no, this is great. This is great. Now, before anyone said, because everyone's like, oh, racist and misogynistic. What? No, hell no. Now, watch this. How did Squeaks roleplay Vivek Ramaswamy?
But he did not spread hate, though, did he? Unless I'm missing anything.
He didn't.
He was just goofing around.
Yeah.
But I think that is, I think the key is a reading the room, and it's really the way you do it. That's why I don't want to be like, you can't make like racial jokes. Of course you can. Bro, there used to be a whole there's a whole bit where fucking God, what's his name? Uzi on Larry tries to get Mickey to be black, right? Like there's a whole bit that me and Uzi do where Uzi will try to have Larry get Mickey the character to act black. And it's funny because I purposefully don't. There are racial jokes that are funny. There are sexist jokes that are funny. It's very much a read the room kind of thing, and it's very much how you go about it.
It has to be very clear that it's not serious at all, but like you have to be very careful how you go about it too, because like, yeah, I don't know.
Like,
It's dangerous.
Like when you write, like I think when written that way, my initial response is no, right? If you write, is it okay to make a misogynistic and racist character? My initial response is no. Now, if you're Squeaks and you make Vivek Ramaswamy and part of the character is that he just says out of pocket political talking points that are clearly like fucking unhinged, but it's so obviously a joke and a bit, and it's Squeaks doing it, I'm like, okay, that's fine. Does that make sense?
Yeah, in my opinion, I think that's like, yeah, that was
And
the way he went about it was great.
And by the way, this is the weird part. It's like, dude, I not to like gatekeep, but it's probably okay because it was Squeaks doing it, and because Squeaks can read the room and knows like what's over the line or what isn't.
Yeah, I also think that, yeah, I mean, this chatter said it as like, this is like, that was clearly like satire. There's clearly parody, right? I think that's why that works, right? I think if you had a character going in there with serious intentions to be like misogynistic and like, you know, all those other things, I think that is kind of where the line is drawn, right? Because then it's like, yeah, like what's the intent of that role play? What's the point of that role play besides to make other people feel uncomfortable or whatever? You know, there's something to be said about the fact that when Squeaks did it, it was very satire, it was very parody, it was very comedy focused, right? And it was kind of, that was the whole point. I think it's just about walking that line and making sure that you know, don't make it into a real thing.
I think it's like, man, it was weird. There was I don't know if you guys know this. This actually predates the Roleplay Podcast, but it was one of those like giant like NoPixel calls where there was like a bunch of people like on Discord call, and I gave the same take as I'd give now. I was like, no, like there's just some stuff in real life that you just don't. It's like, oh, but real life, so it's like, well, but you don't need to roleplay that out. It's like, oh, but we have like guns and murder. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I don't need like over the top sexism. I just don't need it. So my answer to that question, as I've thought there, is still like no. I think I'm okay with some exceptions, but again, those exceptions are very few and far between, and it really is in the satire parody era of like Vivek Ramaswamy.
Yeah, because he wasn't actually going around and being those things, right? He was just being dumb. Right, like it was
right, exactly.
It was good, yeah,
yeah. I think
you're not doing those fucking bad things,
and I think I actually think it's something NoPixel got better at drastically over the years. I think they used to, I think in general tried to basically make it a safer place, especially for women to role play in, because I do think there was this tendency of like, oh, we're. Not to, you know, it was the classic tendency like, oh, we're in a gang, you'll fuck this bitch, you know, shit like that kind of like language and sort of vibe. And I think NoPixel like started to move much more away from that.
Yeah, well, and not only that, dude, it's like it's up to the people playing too to like make sure that shit don't happen either, right? Like if somebody around you is doing that shit, you should be like, hey, like, bye. Like, especially if you have a group, like I had to do that. Because that shit started happening. I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah. Bye.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that too.
Someone said misogynistic and racist jokes don't impact either of you. Hey, you know what? I'm sorry. This is a podcast. And in 2025, if two white guys with Shure SM7B mics can't, you know, talk and...
Well, there he goes. Here he goes.
No, like
no,
honestly, Chatter clocked us there. It's like... well, as a white man, let me tell you.
Yeah, right.
Bro, I think we should get Carmen on here at some point. I think she'd be great to talk about stuff like this. Because Carmen's been through the motions with this shit.
Carmen has an interesting like vibe because it's like, and having done a lot of role play with Carmen, it's like she does a lot of like, man, dude, she does kind of risk it because she does like a lot of like more like sexual role play, and it's like some people will joke and do that with her, and then other guys will do it. And it's like, I've like seen some clips involving Carmen where I'm like, brother, what? What? Like, what the fuck? Like, what? Holy shit! I feel yeah. She goes through some shit.
The goats at RP, bro. She is like top fucking tier RP, dude. She does so much stuff, bro, but she's been through things too that it's just like, holy fuck. Like, she'd be great to have on here to talk about specific topics like this, dude. I'm telling you. I think her input would be very, very good.
Well, listen, we already had a woman on the podcast a bit ago, and that met our quota for the year. So
No.
so in 2026,
He's joking. He's joking, chat. Oh, dear God.
I'm kidding. No, but to answer that question, I think in general the vibe is probably no. Again, I think it's very much. Listen, a lot of it's read the room, and a lot of it depends like who it is. I mean, literally, I've done even not in NoPixel. I've done like role play, like doing role play with like Kyle and Jenny. Like Kyle and Jenny say some unhinged shit to each other, but when it's like the two of them, not with like other people around. That's the other thing. It's like you also have to be. Oh, that's the other hot take. You have to be aware of who else is around. Even if like these two role players are comfortable doing it with each other, if other people are also in that, they might not be comfortable with it. So
Yeah, sure. It's always about reading the room, to be honest.
Angel Knives would be an awesome guest. And that's right, guys. Angel Knives was a guest on the Roleplay Podcast. That's right. If you guys go onto YouTube and subscribe to Roleplay Podcast, you can actually find. Is Angel Knives in chat? She's been on, I think she's been on 2 episodes. No? Maybe? 1 or 2? I don't know.
Last season, right?
Yeah.
2.
Yeah, I think 2. Already got you there, chat. See? Roleplay Podcast. Historically, in all 3 seasons, 2 white guys as the hosts, but we also love women, okay? So... What is it? I can't hide. I can't hide that. I'm very fucking white, dude. I can't hide that. I can only try to.
Dude, people could tell. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Other hot takes from chat.
Chat, come on, chat. Let's see it. Some of the best RPers is the server are the doctors and paramedics. They are so underrated. Absolutely agreed. One of my favorite doctors, Dr. Stacy, who does not have prio on the server, that puts some of the most effort in medical RP I've ever seen. That every time I go to the hospital, I hope it's her that's dealing with my characters, because that's a damn good doctor.
Yeah.
Very underappreciated. Very underappreciated.
I think the doctor mechanics of 4.0 kind of made it hard to play a doctor, because I played a doctor in 3.0 for a couple of months actually, and I had a doctor in 4.0 for about a couple of days, and I was like, nope, I'm good. Just because it's so mechanical now, it kind of took a lot of the role play out of it for me.
It's
you know,
thankless.
and it's very thankless because people just want to go in, get checked out as quickly as possible. Whereas like before, there was a lot more back and forth with the dash me's, finding an injury, and you could gauge if somebody wanted to be quick or if somebody wanted to stay long. You kind of lose that when you make it a mechanical system, because now it's like everyone's like, get me in as quickly as possible, apply the bandages, do the stuff, get me out.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it takes a long time, right? The worst part about medical for me is sometimes when you go in there and there's a doctor on duty. It's like, great, there's a doctor. And you get in there and there's already like 4 people lying on the bed ahead of you, and you're like,
Oh yeah.
fuck.
Yeah.
Then you're like, oh, no, this is gonna be a while.
It takes so long now too. It should just be like up to the individual injury. Like there's just so much more role play you can do with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
My
the one thing I don't like about the medical system now is it's like what do you do? Because like sometimes you can't see your injuries if you're down. Like you can't open and see like what is wrong with you. So if they ask you what's wrong and you don't really know, and you say something, they're like, well, oh, actually, there's this, and this, and this. Like, well, Why'd you ask? Why didn't you just do it? Like, why don't you tell me what's wrong with me? Because you could see it, right? Like, sometimes I'm
Yeah.
like, fuck. Can't we just have one or the other?
Yeah, that's
Uh,
the problem with the system. I think it's better with like dash me's because then you could specifically state what your character's injuries were, and it gave you
Yeah,
more control over that RP scenario to be like, this
yeah.
is what I want my injuries to be, versus
But
like
if
this is what
it's
the game tells me what my injuries are.
yeah, and if the game already has it logged, you shouldn't slash me and inspect injuries because like I don't really know. Like if you're gonna
Yeah.
correct me anyway and be like, the fuck you talking about? What do you mean you just got hit by a car? You got 3 broken legs. Like what? 3?
hot take. I don't think we. I don't think that. I think people should just skip medical a bunch. And I think the majority of. This is the hot take. I think the majority of doctor RP should not focus on caring for patients, but should be like give them the chance to do doctor hospital RP. I think the
Are you
best.
talking about like surgeries and ICUs
I,
and
I
stuff
think.
like
I
that?
think when they. I think when they do, like, it shouldn't just be for benign shit when people randomly get hit and then just want to like get up again. I think it should be for like serious. I think they should do it only for serious shit and make it a serious thing. Here's the way I think about it. What percentage of the show Grey's Anatomy or Scrubs or any of these doctor shows, what percent is actually in the operating rooms or doing the medical procedures versus what percent are the doctors fucking each other in the closets, gossiping, crazy tea, others? Like, I think it should be about hospital role play, if that makes sense. They should do hospital role play. And that way, instead of feeling like a chore when someone comes in and is down, it's like, instead of like, fuck, I had to fix 40 people's injuries today. Instead of that, it's like, I had maybe 1 or 2 really serious things where I got to go all in. And that way it's not just a single doctor that may a medical, like when Chatterbox was in here, like it'd be cool if there's like an actual medical team and they're running, it's a fucking serious triage, right? Like they only respond to code reds or something and everything else
Okay.
is a doctor skip. And then give the hospital something else to encourage people to role play within the hospital and create
Yeah,
that
like there'd have to
hospital
be
role play.
something for them. There'd have to be something for them because otherwise, you're just gonna stand around and just wait? Because some days,
No,
sometimes
because dude, my
there are
favorite
days that does nothing actually even
bro,
happens.
but one of my
and they're just gonna
favorite things, yeah, give them something else to. But when I was a doctor as Mickey, I just liked running around with a clipboard and going, doctor, and then spreading gossip about the other doctors and finding out who is fucking who. Like that was fun. Like, I have this same take about police work and cops too. It's why I think investigation RP, like the cops should opt in to their investigations. They should choose when to do a fucking deep dive investigation into some drug ring or a series of heists that have been going on. And that's what they do the paperwork for. And everything else they can just not have to fucking do paperwork for. Right?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, what percentage of the show of cop shows am I watching someone fucking pulling up a screen, typing up a fucking stupid report for the like 8th gang shooting of the day? Right? I want people to role play scenes and interactions and areas, not like role play like the same game mechanic loop over and over. Anyways.
Yeah.
When you have a grindy server and you have goals, you don't got a choice but to do those same things on loop over and over again.
Yes. That's why I think
Thanks.
the mechanics for medical RP need to be stripped away. They just need to be stripped away because again, in 3.0, you had that kind of environment, right? People would come in just to get checkups for like a food allergy and stuff. You'd have like doctors who had specialties and people would schedule checkups and they would like come in and just do like role play for that kind of stuff. But now people just don't want to go to the hospital because they spend so much time there with like their regular injuries that they just like are burned out and the doctors are burned out because they just are, doing the same mechanic over and over and over again that nobody wants to like stick around there longer and
Dude,
play more.
So
It's
what
like-
we should do is get a couple of doctors that have been in 4.0 for quite some time, and we bring them in for another podcast, and we get their take on this too,
Yeah.
because they have to sit in there all day and they can give us their honest thoughts because they're the ones that do this shit, right?
Yep.
I don't think I will say I don't even think I have an episode to point us for that. I don't think we've done EMS and doctor role play. I would
I can
imagine.
round some people up for that for
Oh
sure. if you
hell
want
yeah!
me to.
Like, and again, do you know what's funny is I actually feel like it matches also like the vibe that the other players want too, which is like when I go in, like when I'm like 90% of the time when I'm downed, it's something dumb and I just want to get brought back. I literally could just go through Dr. Skip. But there's 10% where when I'm downed, I actually want it to be a longer scene and be a serious thing. And it's like Demo said, I feel like I have more energy to invest in that role play when it is that.
Yeah.
Damn. All right, other hot takes from chat before we go on adventure and try and climb a mountain.
More people should be go postal. Go post. That go postal stuff is awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
What is y'all's take on role players being able to role play supernatural beings like pestilence, ghosts, etc.? Do you think more characters should have the ability and it makes sense for their character? You can't have too much of that. It's cool, but the right people need to do it.
I have a controversial take on that. I think it's man. I'm not saying it's all bad. I just can't do it. Like it's like, for instance, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, it's really hard to, like, sometimes it is hard. Like, I can't always yes and that, if that makes sense.
That's why you need the right people that can do things that are not too heavy. Like, I think that whole plague thing was a good example, in my opinion. The plague was cool.
Right, because with the plague, at least, like, let's say you're like like, think about it, like, the problem is it forces a lot of RP on people.
Yeah.
When you are,
also,
it really does force a lot of RP. I will say the reason why I think the plague one was okay is because I could role play that, like, it was just a pandemic and, like, it was just a big thing. Like, it was like COVID, basically.
Yeah, you could just you could choose your approach to it, really. Like a lot of people were like really like upset about and dreading it. Like when I got the plague thing, I was like, okay, plague bomb. I'm gonna spread to as many people as I can, right? And then there's other people that are like, I don't even believe in that. It's just a cough, right? Like everybody was doing something different with it. It was cool. I thought it was a really cool thing, right? Because you can kind of like, it's not too much. And there's a way out of that just by simply getting a cure somehow. And you can make it pretty obvious that you don't want to do it and you can get the cure pretty easily.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just one of it's one of those things where, like, if you are not a supernatural server from the start, it is really, I think for a lot of like, it's really hard to basically just accept some of those things. I think sometimes for like events, like if it's a Halloween night and there's zombies or fucking monsters, like, sure, like a little, like, basically non-canon. Ooh, maybe that's a way to put it. Non-canon supernatural stuff. Sure. As soon as it's like canon-based supernatural stuff, I have an issue with it. It's
definitely not for everybody.
And by the way, I'm not like, oh my God, I hate it. There's no place for it. It's more like I can see where it'd be tricky.
Yeah. It's a really big suspension of disbelief when you start introducing all those stuff, and it's like your character kind of almost has to believe it because it is true. And there's like, that's why I like it better when it's like you could choose not to, like when it's not super like forced or anything, which is definitely possible. But there are times when it feels like, okay, this person just came back to life in front of my eyes. I don't know what else to believe at this point, and it's like that changes how your character views the world now, right? The world has now changed.
Yeah. That was a great question, though. It was. Yeah, and
you can allow supernatural, you should allow clown risk. You damn right. You damn right.
Yeah, I mean, like, listen, that's how I'm not like, oh my God, you should ban it. There's no place for it. It's more like, it's just tricky. I don't think it's like an entire, like, one where I'm like, hey, I'm totally against it. But I'm also not like, I see why there is a lot of criticism of it and why it's kind of like tricky.
Yeah. But I mean, my personal opinion, I still think it's a good thing to do. Not often, but random times. And as long as the right people are doing it, it'll be all right. But there needs to be a very clear way for people that do not want to get involved in it, that they are not forced to.
As an example, you did the whole Chatterbox Purgatory like scene as an existence in Chatterbox's mind, right? And it's like it doesn't affect my character or like what my character does. Like whether or not that was real or just in Chatterbox's head, my character Mickey can always be like, oh, like yeah, Chatterbox had some. If you ever told, or if you I don't even know if Chatterbox remembers it, but if he does remember it and he tells Mickey about it, Mickey be like, wow, you had a fucking crazy dream, right? Like,
yeah, he remembers it.
Oh shit. Bro, what the fuck? Meta, man. The fuck?
Spoilers.
It's okay. He's not around right now.
Oh, someone said, what's a character that you guys miss in NoPixel?
A lot. All of them. What the fuck?
Conan.
Yeah.
That's always always the correct take. Always the correct take.
Conan, Gunner.
Rami, shit character. Even shittier streamer. Conan Clarkson, best character.
Sorry.
Don't clip that.
All
Send
of
that to
Burns'
Rami.
characters. All of Burns' characters. Shelly was great. Forty. I miss James Randall. Gladys. We lost a good cop too. Shields. That was a character cop. We lost him. Fuck. I was really upset about that one. Jack Ripley. Bo Vice W. Led the prison.
Don't know about me.
Dude, it's just so many people, bro.
Yeah, it really is a lot.
Yeah, Scotty's gone, Aziz's gone, yeah. That's when it goes back. Chat, you guys can keep naming people. I'm just gonna say yeah, because we miss all of them, dude.
Every person that chat has typed, I don't miss.
Okay.
Fuck.
I don't like any of these people.
Oh yeah, Pillbot. You guys remember Pillbot?
Yeah.
Dude, that was a good character. I always wonder what happened to him.
I don't know.
Oh, Pillbot was good.
Yeah, my character was his roommate in 3.0. He tried to kill him.
Really?
Yeah. He always used to unplug him overnight. Pillbot used to be pissed.
If you could bring back a perma character, who would it be? Beverly Breckers. Oh, wait. Did that.
Giblets.
Oh, my God. Leslie. Dude, okay. I will say this. Leslie Lindbergh. Bro, Leslie Lindbergh, Lang Buddha, Dean Watson was peak GTA roleplay in 3.0. Holy shit.
Leslie was like a super rich character, right?
It was, yeah, dude. It was like the three of them were like, it was like the three rich asshole RP. I actually loved the dynamic of having these three like giga rich assholes like trying to like run and manipulate the city. Ugh.
Dude, that Leslie guy, I remember in the mines in 3.0, I went in there because I was just trying to get ideas of like something scary to do. And I was running down there, and you can actually like go down there and mine. So they had this spotlight because it was too dark, and they were mining down there. And I was running down the tunnel, and I saw them. I'm like, whoa, what the hell? And I was off stream, right? So I just started making noises and shit. Dude, they would not leave the tunnel. They wouldn't leave them. They were trying to leave, but they were too scared to leave. I had them trapped in there for 45 minutes, just making noise and shit. That was the only time I've ever met that character. Never saw him again after that. What does Blau know about Joe? What are you talking about, Joe Goldberg?
Joe Mama. I watched the whole I watched the whole Joe Goldberg arc. It was amazing.
You want to know? You want a crazy unlock?
Yeah.
Byrne, I guess, played the Emperor. It was Joe Goldberg.
The Emperor is Joe Goldberg.
Yeah, that's his ID was Joe Goldberg. I just got the unlock yesterday, and I'm like, what the fuck was this guy cooking? What
crazy?
What did he do? Like, I'm so like, even on OC, I'm like, what the fuck did this guy do? Because that's crazy. But that's just as far as we know. Because one of the mimes, David Wonder mentioned it, and he goes, "Who is that?" 'Cause I have a feeling that this Emperor thing was something was fishy here. He's like, oh, the real Emperor I think died, or the Joe killed him, and like, I don't know, something's weird. So I don't know if like Burton like cooked something, or if it's just, I don't know.
Okay, maybe Burton cooked something. Could be. Possible other take, and I not to like spoil people's illusions. I run around all the time and do dev shit on the Jean Paul clone intern. The one artificial intern 017, the one that looks exactly like Jean Paul. I spawn in on that character all the time, and that's what like that. I play him in multiple roles just because I like the fact that it's XQC running around the server. So to be fair, oh my god, artificial intern 01717.
Stop.
Wait, what was artificial intern 015?
That was Brecker's one?
No, Brecker's was 014.
Oh. It was 015. Oh, yeah.
I think we skipped 015. 016 was Ginger and 017 was Jean Paul, I think.
Yeah.
I think we skipped
Yeah,
015.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I think that does it for Roleplay Podcast. We have been yapping. We did chats takes. Guys, it's time to go climb a mountain, okay?